Position's good here, yeah.
Yeah.
If he picks GP.
If they pick GP.
If he picks GP, I think we're totally cool with this
We
install.
should,
Yeah.
we should insta-lock Lucian, by the way,
Yeah.
for the memes.
Well, let's not try not to get excited.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're just gonna play
Play a
focus.
cool, calm,
Yeah.
collected game. After we win a team fight, let it all out.
We're gonna just go, you know, as a scream. It's gonna be same.
Yeah.
Just
Starting. Good luck. Focus, okay? Let's go.
Start. Pressure here. Varus
Yeah,
is
we
here.
can jump, we can
Yeah,
jump, we can fight,
We can. Varus is coming to group.
We can fight, we can fight. They have no GPR.
J4 no flash, J4 no flash.
Kiting.
GP no flash. GP no flash right here. GP no flash. I got GP.
We win.
Varus has no flash too. I have passive Cassio.
He has no flash.
I'm dead.
Everyone has no flash.
Done. We have Rise ult soon. Can you chase?
Yeah. I think we can bear.
We can go for him to be the rise ulti.
Yeah. You be calm.
He has no flash.
I go here.
Nice call.
No.
Reset for Vayne.
Yeah, reset.
This is the Echo Fox, guys.
This is Echo Fox.
Hey, Huni, it's your mom and brother right
Yeah.
there.
I don't care. I mean, I should not care. You know?
I mean, it's whatever, you know?
Only focus on enemy.
Yeah. I'm hitting
600 HP. They're gonna look now, by the way. Look at Sedge.
You okay?
Okay, Sedge on one.
Yeah, we're good.
We can fight.
Under tower.
You guys can win.
Okay, look at backline.
Farm first.
Tristana. Trist. Oh, I
Keep kiting. Play with this here. Pick him up.
I'm dead.
It's okay. Just back.
Just back.
Oh,
Down.
sorry, my mistake.
It's fine.
Okay.
All good.
Okay, no.
No, that's it.
Rise. No flash.
Rise.
I'm hitting Ornn.
I'll stun in one.
Sedge ulti down. Just front line.
I'm good.
Ornn. Nice. I have Q and 2.
Rise no flash.
Sedge. Okay, nice.
Help me.
Trist no flash. Trist flash. Just
play
base.
slow. We're
Hit
gonna
the
play
base.
slow.
Yeah, hit the base. We have two ocean. We have 3 waves. We have 3 waves. Yeah, TP and end.
Just over a minute to go to game time. I want to get some win conditions out on the table. So, Jat, TSM, you bought into Foxcoin yesterday, so I'm going to want you to shill me there.
Yeah.
Let's do TSM first.
I'm nervous on this one. I'm selling Foxcoin when it's at its peak right now, I hope. I
Okay.
hope I don't sell it truly, but mainly it's the fact that I think it's a good matchup for TSM. Echo Fox outskills people. TSM has been outskilling people. I don't think Echo Fox will have the large advantage for which to make their aggressive plays. So when TSM sits back, I think Echo Fox is going to throw themselves at TSM, and I think they have good enough players to counter and win.
Alrighty, Mark, what do you think for Echo Fox?
I actually really agree with his reasoning. I just don't think TSM is proactive enough that even if Echo Fox messes up, that they will punish all the way as hard as they need to. Dardoch just needs to go out there and show them who the original young NA talent jungler was way before Nori, Mike Young, and all these other guys started popping up. Dardoch was smashing the league. He's been smashing again here at the start of 2018. I think he's been the biggest individual component here that is better than his opposition in TSM.
We eked those in with just enough time. I love it. Time for us to send it over to the Battle Arena to get into game one. Guys, take it away.
Thank you, Dash! Very excited for this clash between Echo Fox and TSM. Echo Fox Kobe looking to keep themselves undefeated after 2 weeks of play.
Yeah, this is a super exciting matchup because, you know, people were really worried about the volatility of this team, but they're the 3-0-1 coming into the matchup, not to be underestimated here. Here comes the bans, though. Kalista off the table for Sven. It's one of the long-time favorites for this European duo. They have had success in multiple metas and did make it at the World Championships with that duo as well.
Yep, Tahm Kench, another kind of aspect of their duo lane as well, so also taking out Shen on the other side there for TSM. Mostly targeted against Adrian, actually. He's been playing a lot of support Shen.
Yeah, support Shen has been very popular, especially in solo queue. You know, a lot of the melee supports kind of taking over right now, and it gives you that extra global to work with, which can really tip the top lane matchup the analyst desk was talking about, setting up this big rivalry between Huni and Hauntzer that has kind of been picked up after almost a year and a half of them not seeing play against each other directly. And there's another token in that matchup, the Lucian ban, respect over to Huni here from TSM.
Yep, the memes turned into just absolute respect, taking that one away from the top lane. And Galio, kind of an interesting ban. Haven't seen too much of him on this patch, but we know a champion that both Monster and Bjergsen can play quite well.
Yeah, really has been rising in priority as well. And a lot of the theme of these bans is globals, right? Tahm Kench, Galio, Shen, all of these champions really do affect the mid-game map play with their ultimates. Meanwhile, though, we're going back to the AD carry premier line here with the Kog'Maw band, but insta-lock here, Zoe for Phoenix.
Yep, that's kind of the most egregious pick left open. First pick, Zoe snapped off by Echo Fox, but a decent trade hit for TSM, taking Ezreal, one of the most prized AD carries.
And Ezreal is very interesting because it's such a unique AD carry and being one of the most safe that you can really, as a support, leave this champion to farm safely at the turret, just poke away, at the minion wave for a pretty large amount of time, and that would allow Mithy to get more active in the game. Start ganking mid, start making some of those roam plays, and maybe spice up the early game for TSM.
Well, certainly in that long game Van played yesterday, looked good on the Ezreal, but another scaling pick for Fox there. Gangplank going to be blind picked here, and looks like going to make sure to take a marksman, not losing that one in phase 2 of bans, as Tristana is the next hover for Echo Fox.
Yeah, Gangplank, one of the most popular top laners across the entire world right now because of the synergy with Kleptomancy or even Grass. I've seen a couple of them, but mostly about building up that extra money and huge areas of control when the team fights, eventually do happen, as the meta right now really does revolve very heavily around these 5-on-5s. Gangplank brings such large zones of control with both the barrels and his ultimates that it's definitely a force to be reckoned with, and you have to really craft your engagements around that champion. So we'll see what TSM go for this time around, because yesterday they didn't draft very heavy engage. It was mostly just from the bottom lane, from Mithy with the Ornn, and they did take a while to end up the game because of that.
Yeah, certainly did. I mean, the Malzahar they picked early might help with that. A pretty common pick again. Almost any mid laner that can help lock down Zoe. And Braum is actually the support pick there for TSM. We've seen a lot of carries being picked in phase 1 just because of how good that pretty much everyone is. The mid lane's really top heavy right now. There are a lot of good marksmen and of course a lot of carries at the top. So TSM changing it a little bit, actually going to ban Taric as well, keeping Adrian's options much more limited.
It really is interesting out of just the first 3 characters for each of the teams here, because you mentioned Zoe, right? And a lot of the pick potential there and the one-shot potential. On the same token, Malzahar is going to require maybe another jungler or something with him to be able to pick somebody off, but equally low levels of counterplay once you're caught or once you're picked off. So it really is going to be around opportunities here and who can get the vision down to try and get those picks first, it looks like.
Well, Taric was the extra support man, like I mentioned, and everyone's buzzing. Was taken away from the other side. We got one final ban to come for Fox.
And looking forward to the next ban phase, we have seen TSM with very offensive picks for Mike Young. Mike Young is the big question mark on the team, the newest guy brought up here, and he's played Shyvana, Kha'Zix, and Evel, the offensive-oriented junglers, but has done a lot of farming, and they haven't yet put him on just a standard frontline tank, though we know he does play these champions, and we have seen him do it. Jarvan and Sejuani are the 2 premier ones. Since Sejuani was the last ban here from Echo Fox, you would expect Jarvan pick up here for Mike. And it also does do very well into things like Zoe, right? Everyone's very down on Zoe's offensive abilities because they're so annoying when you get hit with safety bubble trouble or something. But he is vulnerable to ganks, and especially if you mentioned the Malzahar ultimate. Jarvan is great at closing that distance.
Yeah, I kind of like splitting a difference there between offense and tankiness there for the J4, but I think Zach's the obvious pick for Dardoch, and there's Alistar to round it out as well. So all of a sudden, 2 picks in and frontline there for Echo Fox as well.
Instantly lock in some of the best frontlines. The reasons why these are 2 of the best right now, Alistar in the bottom lane, very prominent, can go for kills with Tristana. Like, this lane does have kill pressure, especially with a Zach long-range engage near the bottom, threatening all the time, and a Gangplank ultimate. So there's possibilities for Echo Fox even playing around a bottom lane here. So that's a very interesting little wrinkle, whereas TSM have drafted some more team fight prowess. Vladimir, we've talked about it, like this guy is a monster once you get to team fights, and especially now, this is still 8.1. You can start stealthies on Vladimir, really ramp up your gold very early on, plus you don't have to deal with the minion aggro from your targeted spells, and he is an absolute monster. Gameplay for Vladimir is something we see a lot of actually in solo queue as far as a matchup, and very excited to see this one get onto the Rift.
And to me, I just love the Vlad pick because of the, I hope, a change in mindset here in this game. TSM is saying, okay, we can't just sit back and scale and try and play a couple on game. We heard it even on the desk in the pre-show. Vladimir is a pick that will be for fighting often with his ultimate. So if TSM just sit there and farm with him, that's a losing strategy with Vladimir.
Well, Echo Fox definitely has the engagement. The bottom lane you talked about, Zach with his passive to revive and Alistar with the ultimate. huge damage reductions because of those abilities, they'll be able to last on the front line no matter what. So it'll be about coordinating that engagement.
Certainly will, and a fun one here. Echo Fox looking to run the tables after 2 weeks and stay undefeated. TSM, a tough opponent just to hit 500, just to put them at 2-2. Certainly not the start the defending champs are looking for, but a win here is a huge sigh of relief to end out their week, finally right the ship a little, and then move into the rest of the season with a bit more confidence. But you can hear the crowd just a tad there. The Echo Fox fans are very excited for their team to finally be off to a good start.
Battling TSM chance as well.
Always a tough one.
Talking about confidence, yeah, it sounded like from Oblie's interview with Song, they are incredibly confident as far as that are to come, for this team. As far as Echo Fox, though, the wins that they've already gotten have it on the side as well. Just as an individual player, is having such a remarkable effect on the mentality of the rest of the players on Echo Fox, as far as kind of galvanizing them against any of the doubts that the community has had. And it really has shown up in the play. They've been extremely precise thus far.
Well, we'll have to see if they can keep it up as the 10 players span across the length of the river to start off the first. Also, that's the face check again, playing bit of free money.
I mean, you've got a Spell Thieves on one side and a Gangplank on the other side with Klepto, so everybody's just trying to catch it. I think I give a little bit of an edge over to the Vladimir here. 23 gold earned, 13 gold ahead. Let's see what Huni got as far as his items, though. Did he get any Klepto goodies?
Oh, unfortunately, it's so much easier. Just hanging out. Might be a late Lord here, and Mike Young on that red buff as Mithy and Ven move in, get a bit of influence. Dardoch and Adrian spotted out.
Braum incredibly threatening because of the stun passive right there that they could stock up on Adrian. Is going to mean a little bit more damage Dardoch will take here, but Mithy being on the ward actually even makes him use one of these smites here. So Zach actually doesn't have a problem clearing his blue side jungle unless Mike Young decided to follow up that bottom lane invade with a Jarvan invade of his own. In order to do that, though, they might need some more pressure around mid lane, and Bjergsen right now on Malzahar doesn't have a bunch of options versus Zoe. This is kind of the classic, by the way, if you haven't seen a lot of the pro play. Blue side clear for Zach. You want to get the basically patience range for both of these, the blue buff and the Gromp. They kind of overlap right here in the middle. So you get this sweet spot, you use your elastic to pull them together, and you're able to get double damage basically since you're double using AoE. Out both of those camps. He does so, and he actually did that before Wolves because he didn't want Mike Young coming in on that Jarvan, kind of messing up the only really scary part of the back.
Yeah, Mike Young though is just farming through pretty much his entire jungle. Actually left the blue up for a little while longer, so already level 3 might be flipping down towards that bottom side. We've seen Dardoch though play top side so often as Ven knocked up there by Adrian, but Mithy returning some fire knives down their lane.
Meanwhile, Huni on the top side with Gangplank, able to shove Haunter unfazed. Anytime your top laner gets that early shove, you want to try and get one of your wards on the camp spawns. If you're blue side here, as Huni has done, onto the Krugs, or if you were Haunter's side and he was getting the push, you usually put it up there by the blue buff slash Gromp. Because the ward on a camp is so valuable, you get to see, even if the jungler is not there, you can kind of rule out half of the map, and then you're able to infer possible locations. Bottom lane can play a little bit more safe. We kind of talked earlier about the possibilities of Zach's long range being threatening for even an Ezreal Braum that are very mobile.
Here comes Dardoch, kind of moving his way back around. Mithy gonna get jumped on, combo starts, snuck up there, a root, slapped around forever as Mithy trying to get back to Sven. Dashes back, flashes out as Sven. Arcane chips away.
Does get the flash here from Mithy, plus a large chunk of health. And that's kind of exactly what we're talking about. Even though Adrian did spend his flash and Ignite, so it ends up being a summoner positive trade for the TSM bottom lane, as they're able to escape from that one. But that could get worse, because the other thing we talked about in Champ Select is, in addition to Zach's range getting longer with the Elastic Slingshot for those engagements on bottom lane, the Gangplank ultimate could also become a factor that could affect. So we'll have to see how that one does trail.
Face check there, but not walk the trade. Phoenix can't quite find the skill shot angle. Mid lane there, looking relatively even on CS. I feel what Bjergsen wants to do Just gonna hang out in lane for a little while longer. Dardoch here, gonna force a flash. Very nice, slaps together, stretching strike. Phoenix looking to line the bubble up, the Drowsy is good. Phoenix lining up the rest of them, spawns avoidance for Bjergsen. Still gets touched, Mike Young though, knock up on the other side, but Phoenix snagged a flash.
Yeah, decent amount of damage done to Bjergsen there, but he has sitting in his inventory as well.
And his cleanse still up. He needs to get back to the lane ASAP.
For the reasons Phoenix has been so pushed up in this matchup, by the way. Zoe getting used up very quickly and picked up some early, it looks like she had a blue smite early on before that trade. To be able to get a nice harassment down, and then in that one, the GLP active as well, able to get an extra slow there and a nice little chunk. They just want to try and get off that now the hard spell before they go for the engagements, and you're able to see just an immediate flash with that shadow that's going on.
Phoenix also until spellbook. They're going to push those waves and pop those balloon minions, and actually a very fast QSS. Kind of knows that one of the few ways he can really get touched in the flames if he gets ganked by the jungler and also by the Malphite. Phoenix looking to line it up again. Portal Gun is good. Huge amount of damage on the Bjergsen.
Yeah, the other bonus, which is really he's a very effective roamer to go sideways because of the range of bubble trouble when you shoot it over walls. It's a huge extension, and it's just another angle that things like the bottom lane here, which are very highly prized, could have
looking for a gank. Haunter the ulti, gonna go for the tower dive. Knockback is not quite enough. Huni very low, a little bit more from Haunter required. Has the flash, looking for it. The ignite's enough though. First blood to Vladimir.
SM first blood. People are criticizing Mike Young for not being as active early on and not being as defensive. But the Guardian here going for a clean game through the run. He never used his flash because Mike Young was able to use his flash to land that knockup very quickly. We'll take another look at the slow-mo here and see just why Huni kind of didn't have, well, he did have vision actually. He just didn't expect Mike Young to go for the EQ flash. And the drawback of the EQ flash is only that, yes, you won't get your EQ damage, but all they needed was that knockup time. And Haunter was able to get in there with the ignite, with his ultimate already on, and Vladimir getting the damage there. So very nicely picked up for TSM's top side as they secure a Vladimir way ahead in that gold race.
Yeah, actually looking good in CS, about 15 up, and now with a completed frost clean. You know what I could use? To be able to get that income going.
That pressure can snowball in instances like this for TSM. However, the bottom side was the warded up side. So Mike Young now has ventured into the side of the map where they didn't establish control. Bottom lane is where they really have complete control. All the wards for TSM cover that side. They have the support over there. Haunter just plays another piece of work in addition to the early kill that they have. The bottom side is really good to the side of the map now that TSM have to be defensive on, where the top side feels quite strong for them.
Yeah, you can see Mike Young pretty much trying to do something mid lane and walk through about 4 or 5 different spots of vision. As we check back in with the bot lane, Ben up on CS nicely here, but looks like it's mostly a farm fest there. In that lane, as Mike Young takes the rep up for the second time and might try some more mid from this angle.
Yeah, I mean, Gangplank is definitely a diveable target, as we've already seen. They won't have the ignite quite yet from Haunter, but since he's running Spellbook, it does come up almost 30% quicker for himself. I believe he has both of those summoner spell reductions. So very easily Mike Young is trying to attack that area. The single ward that they just put out. Meanwhile, Huni's ultimate on Gangplank is available for that bottom possibility that we talked about. And we're long range.
Of the TP, but won't need it to try and add some help there to that fight as Phoenix did a quick run top to Redemption Huni for a bit of bonus health in his 1v1 that Huni's struggling just a touch, although catching up in CS nicely as Dart on the right hand side. Looks like Blue Buff is partying for you, but Redemption's just been held so far down in the mid lane. Adrian and Isaac will enter as well.
And this is what you kind of have to do. We talked about how TSM had to play defensively on the bottom side. Sometimes you have to stack objectives like this. A Blue Buff is not worth giving over early game kills for, especially in an instance that's not so they divide the map. Top side over to TSM, they trade the blues, they threaten to be here even under his turret, make it a little bit more difficult for him to farm, but as he's seen both Mike Young and Bjergsen exit, he moves back in to try and pick up some of this gold. It's not quite out of the waters yet, though.
I made faith.
Relative harm. Adrian flashes in past him. There's always here as well, but he's still chasing for Dardoch. Also trying to cut him off. Adrian with a knockback. Honda just trying to buy a little bit more time. Phoenix takes the kill.
So double spellbook bottom lanes are all the rage. However, you sacrifice a lot. Look at the bottom side of the map now. Even though EcoFox got a counter kill, Ben and Mithy are now fully free. Push down this turret. They're getting a lot of damage on it, and Altec does have to wait for more support before he moves up to protect him. You see him waiting halfway through the lane right now, and TSM gets powered dangerously low.
Speed up this process with his W on the way coming in. So it looks like they might commit, so they do a bit more damage, but we'll watch this dive again.
All right, so even though there is the double teleports from the bottom line that they have to worry about, so much damage comes down to Huni. It's very easy for them to finish the kill even after the hourglass completion. So Hanzo flashes in to secure it. Woo! A bunch of people pop up, and Phoenix and Adrian are both there. But since Adrian left, Altec had to back off, and that's why you can see this very great
Still alive though, so he's got on the table. Nice one, Gauntlet. Back down to that bot side. Phoenix again, pressuring onto Bjergsen. Throughout the portal jumping, but again, that teleportation constantly these waves being pushed up, and that early QSS he bought. Phoenix just has all the tools to get out of this lane, and Bjergsen, who wants to be moving with his team and getting to his ultimate, is kind of just stuck at his turret right now.
Yep, Bjergsen now, though, with the teleport advantage. And it is a little bit more difficult to track the summoner spell teleport when everyone's running spellbook, but you should be used to it by now with the advantage. They have a small window where he could actually get the first star. And Malzahar ultimate, he's actually even almost level 11 here to get another level into it. Extremely impactful. They would probably want to use this very big and important spell to secure a first turret bonus goal. Right now, he's already down here. Mike Young is trying to lend some support. Now, Bjergsen begins to roam on the map through the control ward. They definitely have this bonus gold in their sights.
No TP ult just yet. Still burning gold in order to go over. No Dardoch wants to jump in first. Mike Young on the counter. A great double knock up there for Mithy on the Glacial Fissure on Bjergsen. Secures on with the suppress. Stun lands after concussive blows as Dardoch splits into pieces. They need to try and get this kill a little bit more, but Mike Young, who's going to get drowsy, needs to block. GPO's a little off range from Mithy there. Ignite down from Phoenix as he jumps back in as Dardoch looks for the re-engage. Mithy does use the stopwatch to buy a bit more time, and he is going to go down to Altec. Dardoch on the other side with the stopwatch as Bjergsen goes drowsy. Oh, he got it! Kill Altec. Dardoch down as well. Will go down to Bjergsen as Adrian still being chased by Voidlings. A mess in the bot side, 2v2 overall.
Intense 4v4 on the bottom side. He's
Gravity flashes Phoenix. Again, the distance needs there for Sven. Phoenix can't find the paddle stuff. This is on the other side as Bjergsen runs back out. Haunter solo kills Huni under the turret. 3-for-4 in the extended play, and the turret somehow still standing.
Oh, what a nice action-packed game we have down here. Such a close trade in the bottom side. And Fox trying to go again here.
Flashing forward. No, just use it. Just portal jump through.
This Zoe. Sometimes Zoe can play tricks on your eyes. There.
Very hard to track Zoe flashes as Haunter actually gets solo first turret gold as a reward for his solo kill. But let's watch this one again.
So, TSM did have a good idea here, trying to move down Bjergsen in time for this big play, but the target they select on the front side here, again, we mentioned how tanky Zac and Alistar are with their ultimate and their passive. So, Zac gets the revive with the passive, buys enough time for Phoenix to roam down on that Zoe. You can see him. He picks up the Ignite, ignites for the first kill, then he has an extra flash picked up, goes for the second one, but they don't give enough respect to the Malzahar damage over time here. It just transfers after the second kill. Perfect jump right there for him to pick up the kill on Dardoch as well. The passive was already blown. And since it was a 4v4 on bottom side that required everybody's attention and the ultimate from Huni, Hunter then goes for the dive, and now we're back at
Yeah,
it.
Huni 1v3 right now. Orange is at the ready, gonna get silenced. Barrels there. Huni again just trying to get his way out of trouble.
Yeah, Phoenix laying down some sleepy bubble cover fire as he is able to dissuade TSM from getting a little bit too deep there. Definitely a close game though, and Echo Fox is trying to make the counterplay right back up the mid lane here. Ezreal is on the way to try to get it. Does take out a little bit of help from the
Out turret low but not dead as Ben finishes off the turret. Zero of the turret we're sitting at about 500 gold ahead. So definitely Earthman's going a lot better and a lot faster in their game so far.
And there's a very big thing about well, actually not going to that, but it does revolve around that. So vision control against this team is huge because of the things we mentioned early on in 10th right about Zoe pickoffs, in-play ultimate, and long-range back. Having those supports, having the power control for TSM allows them to place more vision to kind of lower the amount of spots that Dardoch does have to try and set up one of those initiatives.
See the change here for Dardoch, not really sitting around topside as much as we've seen. I mean, Huni, despite having his Trinity Force completed already, getting what gold he can, he is woefully behind Monster's total gold. That's 1,000 gold down on just about. Because Monster's been bullying Huni ever since that initial help from Mike Young. So again, wanted to look at these players and kind of see which strong top laner could get the early edge. With counterpick, it actually has been Hauntzer.
Yeah, Hunter here, still running the Ignited Drill on Vladimir, so constantly threatening Huni, bullying him off the wave, and this works really well in tandem with the shoving bottom lane. TSM have had Ben and Mithy push bottom side in, they prep the top side wave, then they can collapse over to mid lane to play around Malzahar ultimate. This is, again, level 2 Malzahar ultimate for Bjergsen. He's got his flash ready. They're just looking for someone to pick off here.
Someone's going to sleep, it's Sven, but he's safe for now. Looks like he shifted over the wall.
Echo Fox have actually committed Altec to pushing out the bottom side as well, so TSM had a small window where they had a power play on mid of a 5v4. But because of the defensive play here from Fox and Phoenix consistently getting chunked onto high quality members here, then was
Just back to bottom side and to the wave that Alsec had pushed up. Hauntzer with applying counter pressure in the top lane, but he's forced to back up. With Echo Fox retaking control of the left side. Dardoch in mid, knocks up Bjergsen's shield, gets instantly suppressed as Mike Young here as well. They're going to try and knock him back up, but a great ult's going to get him out of safety. Mike Young forced to break that stop one. Worried about the Phoenix counterplay there.
Yeah, definitely have to keep track of the cooldowns on these. Dardoch looks like does have his passive back available up now again. Price as well. So again, the front line will be quite durable for them if they are forced to actually commit to those. And TSM once again trying to push out sideways and then collapse once ultimate. It is just back and it's on our bottom side. Trying to allow them to mark the back to start here. Dardoch meanwhile Riptail on the top side. But then
Triumph and full late after the spine of the first break of the game. It's only a Cloud 18 minutes in. Teams certainly delaying the priority on that.
It's such an interesting trade too, because TSM, there's only one outer turret that they really want to crack before they start to really close in through the jungle with the activation closed off the options here. So they'll probably want to crack down the outer turret that Xbox has standing. Meanwhile, the extra Cloud Drake boost speed for Xbox is going to help them to try to get those waves under control and then rotate back over Hunter here, now and that helps out with spam out which not only will they find out if anyone is coming over, but it's also going to delay them if they're trying to farm up any of that side of the jungle.
Hauntzer actually finally swapping over. Ghost is now selected, so maybe TSM looking to get down and dirty in a team fight situation.
Yeah, that was one of the biggest things why people were so happy with Strogos on Vladimir. The Ignite plus Spellthief start was such a strong early lane power, and then being able to switch over to the great teamfight presence of the double mobility spell. Kind of get the best of both. That will be able to if he has to get these fight. They have Jarvan and Malzahar, so they're trying and force that fight.
And also swapping over as well, so no local actually a moment where and Adrian's team right now.
Remember as well, as people are thinking about Malzahar, Gangplank, oranges, Alistar's possibly Zoe running with them. So a lot of the priorities are meanwhile, Alden on Tristana is going to have to rely on here we go though, Riptail is going to be able to take down that turret.
This is the play that TSM been setting up, but here's the counter coming through. Airborne knockup back there with the last bounce from Dano. Bjergsen low, but he just barely gets out of the way. Massive off from Horster. Finds so many with the Hemo Plague, and he's now going to dive back in and fuck Forster on away. Everyone's alive, but not for that much longer.
Oh, and even though Echo Fox have the counter engagement on the Bjergsen and take the Malzahar out of the fight before he even gets the ult, still the team fight presence of a Vladimir. Big game. He's got Proto Belt, Leandries, as well as the Frost Queen's claim already completed, and he just dishes out tremendous AoE, forcing Echo Fox to retreat and concede their last outer turret. That being said, TSM's outer turrets are not that healthy. There are two that are very close to being knocked over. So if Echo Fox can make a big play, there's a lot of that standing gold for them to take. There, the possibility of that turnaround is definitely there. The problem is dealing with wherever Hunter is on the map.
Almost 5,000 gold ahead after breaking that mid-turret Sven, stopping back up here towards the top lane, so he'll get those minions pushing back. Altec, though, to his credit, has finished those two major items in Static Shift and Infinity Edge, so Fox holding up the scaling advantage between the Chris and Altec, even though they're behind, they're absolutely getting gold. TSM again, I can this is enough. Don't let this game go on for too long.
Yeah, and you're going to want to first start to worry when you see some sort of executioner calling or healing reduction as well, because that is immediately going to help out with team fighting versus Haunter versus this Vladimir. And they're definitely going to need all they can take. Remember, Haunter still looks like it's not one that was never used, so he still has the extra zone. So the one team fight where they're able to pull that big play off could very well mean not a lot of time.
Not prize such as to get real pressure down onto Huni. TSM setting up a Baron on the other side though again. Hornset just trying to keep Gangplank occupied for as long as possible.
Yeah, and Huni just trying to clear out waves.
Yep.
Thankfully for Huni, Gangplank is good at clearing waves under turret. Trying to get that. Now, meanwhile, a mountain turret actually does go very good. As far as they set up the vision, burned out mountain break, that then gives them a lot of extra pressure and mountain there as far as the time that it takes them to burn down with that extra
But on the left-hand side.
Meanwhile, while Huni is trying to clear out the waves down bottom and Hunter's trying to pressure him, from Echo Fox's point of view, Phoenix actually had a pretty good early game where he was finding a lot of picks. He was sweeping Trouble Bubble as well as some decent damage onto Sven. And their big goal is still going to be look for the Zoe picks. They have Zac who can very quickly close a large gap as well as an instant Gangplank ultimate that could come down. So Echo Fox are still looking for that play. The problem is, again, using the sweepers, using the control wards to clear out vision enough to allow them to look for those bubble angles, to allow them to look for the elastic slingshot.
Phoenix has gone very defensive as well. Second item, Banshee's Veil, actually joined Arkham Morello Nomicon, so we'll need a little bit more firepower, but not too much more, so he gets a lot of benefits just loaded into that kit, as TSM are going to take this Mountain Drake that we have foreseen. should equalize. The Drakeson, like you said, does play well to kind of the point this game is up to.
And plays really well into the TSM strategy right now. Hauntzer, though, because he has switched to the Ghost and the Flash to really threaten the team fight prowess, he doesn't have access to the teleport. And even though you can use Ghost to try and run across the map and join the team, again, we talked about how instant Echo Fox could collapse on a pick. And that would be their hope, is to try and get a pick off and get a kill before Hauntzer would be able to come ruin their party.
Yeah, not enough pressure either. TSM not able to defend those last few autos onto the mid turret, so they will lose it. Their first turret falling over to Echo Fox, who are finding their way back into this game. Again, we've had quite a slowdown of the mid game here for the last 5 to 10 minutes. TSM, they've set themselves up nicely and methodically. Hauntzer even now spending all of that gold and buying a Void stuff. But all these things, again, are pointing to the same thing. Where does that big game-breaking play happen? Because they've built a wonderful lead. But this isn't enough to win a game yet. They really need to force something big around an objective. Always think of Baron.
Yeah, I don't think they have to be super worried, though. They're
not yet.
Yeah, they're skilled pretty well as far as Vladimir still has room to add an extra item, but as you're talking about, he's filling up pretty quickly. He's so fed already that he's got not much inventory space available, and again, he wants to use that stopwatch in a team fight fairly soon to actually try and open up that last inventory spot. So we'll have to see. Right now, he's currently, again, split pushing with the Ghost and Flash versus Huni, who does have the teleport in addition to his ultimate. So you consistently have to worry about that engagement. We'll see here, though, who's going to make the big call as TSM are closing the gap through the jungle.
Drowsy Mithy puts the Unbreakable up first. Ult misses. Dardoch puts silences onto Adrian, who's going to knock him back and force the ulti out. Unbreakable through, but now Mike Young has to force ulti's way out. A defensive ult from Bjergsen. Sven piling in his Atrium, flashes out from the True Shot barrage, and a lot of cooldowns burnt. Sven even flashes out of that bubble.
Yeah, they're kind of forced to use a Malzahar ultimate on an Alistar that already has the damage reduction. Now,
Unstoppable Dardoch doesn't get himself popped. Passive was up, I believe. Yes, Cell Division available, but that does delay pressure around this Baron.
Yeah, that was a decent amount used here, and TSM having already cleared out a lot of the vision. Rush onto the Baron, teleport comes in.
Yep, there's Adrian, who's going to follow soon. Vision there from the plant. TSM need to make a big decision here. Do you pull off 2,000? The Baron, they're going to finish at Mithy. Going to try and block it all. Hauntzer going to go around as Mike Young does the give the Baron. Dardoch low from Bjergsen. Hauntzer though still backing onto Huni, who's forced to flash out of the way. They'll chase him down. Hauntzer will get the kill credit, and TSM a Baron and a kill. Very well played.
TSM able to get the Baron buff, and they're going to have full map control now. This is exactly what they needed to press ahead through the second line of turrets. See if now Hauntzer, having used both of his summoner spells to pick up that kill, though, on the Vladimir. Let's take another look. Teleport comes in. Echo Fox feeling rushed right now. And that's when Hauntzer ghost flashes into the back line, single-handedly occupies almost the entire team there. Bjergsen as well, flashing onto Dardoch to force him back out. And then it's the re-engagement from Mike Young, from TSM, to pick up an extra kill on top of that Baron buff.
And surprising very few people. Kobe, you were right. Nothing to worry about for TSM as they do time that Baron very nicely. You kind of said for Echo Fox, one of the challenges will be in this game, how do they survive when the early game doesn't go their way? And it has not gone their way.
Not right now, because now here comes the siege from TSM. One outer turret down. Mike Young goes for a dive onto Phoenix.
Dunkaroonie does go to sleep. Bubble back in, bit of damage there as Mike Young tanking a number of turret hits, but Warmog should tick back up relatively soon. Next, Battlestar misses, airborne there for Hauntzer. Can't be stretched back with a Sanguine Pool. Nice little play as the siege continues. Sven finding Adrian. Adrian with the ulti ready though as Altec defends this wave.
Yeah, and Ezreal with the red buff there. Sven being fairly annoying, poking away at the minion wave, buying some time. TSM would really rather get more than one turret out of this Baron buff though and keep up the siege. So Hauntzer consistently pressuring down bottom side, and they're going to rotate everybody down here to finish off turret number 2. Let's see if Echo Fox go for it. Dardoch is in place.
Certainly is. Slingshot at the ready. Out of vision there. Nice little pocket he's found himself in. Mithy though roaming around looking for some wards. Got Unbreakable.
Yeah, they're looking for an isolated member, but not going to happen here. TSM are grouped up as 5. Altec, meanwhile, trying to rush over to their blue buff and
spotted.
Steal that one away before they collapse.
Does get it though. QSS also there, so despite Bjergsen having Ghost and ult ready with rank 3 ulti, pretty easy for Altec to get out. TSM though, just attacking the weak point of the map. No one is really there. A big wave had built up, so there the turrets we're looking for. 6 turrets to 1 now for TSM.
Now comes the real defense for Echo Fox. Can they hold an inhibitor turret?
Dardoch in there, looking to try and make the play. Bjergsen getting low, knocked back in there as Emblem goes down. Dardoch able to get him, and Haunter and Mike Young straight to the back line. Adrian looking to run interference on the front line, but a massive hemo blade from Haunter cleans up Phoenix, looking for another one, but goes down to Huni as he grabs the shutdown gold. Mithy forced to break away as Sven did pick up Adrian on the other side. A noble effort there for Fox, but probably not enough here.
Oh, they're still trying to take it. TSM eventually get in.
Ben shifts in, little dangerous. Altec firing away. Explosive charge, good. Dardoch looking for the slap, finds him there with the slow. No protection! Oh my god, the buster shot! Not enough there as Mike Young took down Altec. Huni is gonna fall next, but he takes down Mithy with his final breath. Mike Young and Sven though still up, and it's only Dardoch to defend this inhib.
It's a bloodbath on the top side, but TSM eventually gonna get this turret. Next person alive is Adrian off of the fountain, but it's only Alistar, and TSM will be able to retreat in time.
2 seconds too many. TSM break the top inhib, almost 10,000 gold ahead. That is the gold standard for a Baron Power. Players will watch this one again.
All right, so Echo Fox know they don't have time on their sides. Dardoch gets a great opening onto Bjergsen here, completely combos him. They take up the Malzahar, no ultimate blown very early on. However, again, this Vladimir late game absolutely annihilates the backline. Haunter goes in very deep. The problem there for TSM, the rest of them were at the turret, stuck kind of between the objective and the team fight that was taking place. So they weren't able to help them out, and that's why Echo Fox got one more chance. Here's a look at that chance though, Pastry, as they flash in, get the stun, knock here onto Sven, but Mike Young counter engages onto Altec and takes out the damage.
Clutch unbreakable from Mithy. He does go down valiantly towards the end of it, but enough for TSM to collect that inhib. Mountain Drake number 2 will be coming right up, and that's a gold swing. Over 5,000 gold worth of Baron Power.
We're 5,000 gold now, and we finally get a little breathing time to look back at how the story of this game went, and it was so interesting how it was set up again, Haunter versus Huni, and TSM actually are pressuring on that top side, trying to kill the gangplank early, which is the most vulnerable state for the champion, you know, using the Ignite. But Haunter now, he's going to get a little taste of it.
Pretty vulnerable 1v4. Purdy, but out of the way! What a flash from Haunter, still ghosting to save his team. Phoenix looking for it, gets it with the auto. No outplay there, Haunter.
Well, hard to outplay Zoe with summoner spells,
Yeah.
as Phoenix is on the chase there and able to get him down. That will go a long way as far as buying themselves some time. But now we'll have an actual intermission because it's 40 seconds on Vladimir, the strongest member there for TSM. So they'll probably stall the game out. And we'll take a look at how this happened for Echo Fox. There's the bubble, the pick we talked all game about. The follow-up from the Zac and Alistar engage. And it still was a difficult chase. But Phoenix, he heals over to pick up the summoners. You can see him get the flash there off the ground and use that flash to finish off the kill. Whew.
More than enough Spikles to take down that Vampire. Haunter still dead for 10 more seconds. Baron back up in a minute 20. Remember, top inhib is massive minion pressure there for Echo Fox. So TSM in a prime position to retake another Baron and likely use that to push and end the game. Fox still holding on as they look to scale up and just push this game as far back as they can.
Yeah, they're definitely trying. Bank Plank in full activation here. Huni, one more upgrade on the way. It looks like Hysterics will be completed pretty shortly. Should be able to farm up off of that last minion wave, and maybe they'll have it for their kind of last stand here as Super Minions dealt with for another 30 seconds or so, as it's going to take one extra wave from topside before the Baron comes up.
Haunter also getting waves going in the bot side, but he doesn't have TP. Starts to walk over. Huni with his globals ready. Now, he can get involved if he wants to, but TSM know they need to grab this Baron.
All the prep work is being done. As you mentioned, they force Huni down bottom side. He has TP available though for Echo Fox, and now it's the Vision game. They try and clear it as much as they can to force Echo Fox into a bad engagement where they don't get to take that opportunity to land the bubble combo and try and take out one of the key members. Echo Fox here trying to farm up, grab as much experience as they possibly can.
By the looks of things, Fox are just going to try and force a fight here.
busy saving the world.
Vision is decent
Not
for
much
them,
time.
but TSM with enough control.
Haunter looking for a flank with Vladimir on top.
There's GPL down, Dardoch looping in, finds Mike Young, only goes unstoppable, drags him back into the team. Mike Young trying to get his way out, ults and flashes out to safety as Adrian tying up Haunter for a little while longer.
Phoenix!
Phoenix goes in, flashes out of the way. puts Mitty to sleep, but that's not enough. Honto gonna dive back in as Adrian headbutts him away. Dardoch goes to sleep. He's gonna get the passive pop. Sven on the aggression there into Adrian, but Dardoch not long for this world. Honto able to claim that kill. Adrian looking to just buy some time, but he's dead to Sven as TSM collect 2.
Yeah, that team fight consisted of 4 people around Baron trying to fight, and Adrian just trying to keep Haunter away from the team fight as long as he could. But after the W, after the Q was used from Alistar and Haunter finally got to enter the fight, TSM turn it around, they collapse, and now they're running it up mid.
Yep, no need for Baron. Just going to try and take more inhibs and maybe even squeeze out some Nexus turrets. Nope, they exit instantly with 20 seconds left on the respawns and more than enough time to grab that Baron.
They should be able to clear it. Dardoch, yeah, still in the death chamber here for Echo Fox. Man, TSM, they turned up the speed in this game as well as the coordination, which everyone was harping on about. And as we set up in the pregame, good little turn there, and they were able to play much more around the Vladimir this time around with a second Baron buff here for themselves and exposing Reaper on top side. The end game warpath was very clear. Meanwhile, Echo Fox definitely going to have to work that out for them as far as taking somebody out. So you see on the top right here, Adrian just goes to keep Haunter out as long as he can. But because, again, Mike Young's able to delay this so long with his engagement and then exit on the full tank Jarvan, Haunter eventually gets to join, right? And he's got his Ghost on. He's able to zoom in and they take down the Zac passive. At that point, there's nowhere left for Echo Fox to go except full retreat. Adrian eventually also paying for it.
Didn't stick around for too much longer. You know what I can use? On the top side, no, cancelled. That was TP out. Tough to see that between that and a recall, but Mooney with the right play. Still burns that TP, so not a whole lot left. I can tell you it's on the scroll. Need to delay for 2.5 minutes. TSM will hold the Baron for this next.
Yeah, it's going to be definitely be rough, but we'll probably see Echo Fox make one of those calls like we saw early on, where as soon as TSM showed up on the front doorstep and there was an opening, they take it, right? Because there's not going to be a lot of openings left. There's exposed inhibitors and you're dealing with a Baroned up squad. TSM looking to play safe, Echo Fox looking to push the tempo, try and catch someone off guard.
I mean, Alphec's got the items. They can certainly get something started here. The TSM are going to take the inhibs. Sven again forward there with Mike Young and Mitty to help block any shots. Phoenix looking for the angle, but it's really tough with no terrain to land bubbles in the face of a team that's sieging you. TSM happy to play it slow.
Very happy. Another line of super minions coming down mid. Baron buffs to speed up these lines, and a couple more autos left on that inhibitor.
Man again, stepping forward, good block there. Sleep goes Mitty. It's going to be okay. Barrel's in there, Mike Young. Brought back by Dara, but inhibitor goes down thanks to the minions, and now the supers are here. TSM, where do they run? The Elder Dragon is up if they want it, but they might try and push this down. No, Dara going to make the decision for them. Abducts 2 back into the team, but it's the tanky members. They're going to trap them in. Onto the massive hero blade, and he dashes forward into the back line of this team. Applying a hit on the other side for Fox. Doesn't land as Mitty claims Adrian and Dara able to just get away, but Mitty flashes forward, forcing Phoenix's flash.
Big disengage right there as well. They come away with the kill, and again, Elder Dragon, as you said, should be picked up pretty easily. There's 2 mountains for TSM, so it is going to add a little bit of extra help here. Should only be Sven picking that one up, and then them returning back to the bottom side because they were able to take those top and mid inhibitors. 1 lane left. All right, let's take another look at the actual engagement. Because again, we said there's a timer here for Fox, so they're kind of looking for any opening. Dardoch sees Bjergsen again get the Malzahar, but he's able to flash out of the Zac ultimate. And then the engagement here from Haunter on Vladimir flashes in, this time only on the front line, so there's a little bit of hope for Adrian and Echo Fox, but not enough. Even the Alistar ultimate isn't going to make him durable enough as TSM so far ahead, they just melt right through him.
Slight correction also. Sven did get flanked, it was just by the Wolfman. That's who was pestering him as he shifted over the wall. So everyone's safe there for TSM. They get their pick, and now they see this final in here with the Elder Dragon. Baron, unfortunately for them, is just about to wear off, but the siege will continue despite the bevy of roll that TSM do have to spend here. To deter them for too much longer. There's just so much pressure off waves alone. Yeah, it's pretty safe, even if they make a mistake here. they'll be more than in this game.
The wave on top side actually looks to be a double sack super minion wave. So TSM, actually they're going in right now.
Yeah, Mike Young locking everyone in the cage there with the ultimate. Dardock's looking to go unstoppable, drags one back. It's Bjergsen, but he's just going to silence 3 people, and the rest of it, Altec does manage to take him down. Haunter again, no! Dives out of the Zoe, actually! Bit of a misstep as Mike Young's going to try and take one back. They do get Altec. Venomiti trying to fight the rest of them as Phoenix grabs the double.
The super minions on the Nexus turrets, they can't chase, but they cannot chase out of the base. They need to go back and deal with the minions.
Yep, they do chase now. Massive wave as Phoenix, Huni, and Dardock all going to try and clear these out. But again, it's going to take a while. They leave Dardock to clear it. That Nexus turret is going to go down.
Oh, Echo Fox with the big defense, but TSM still trying to chip away the turret, and with this extra damage, Sven takes it below half.
Yep, Sven actually just base tanking the turret there with Vince by his side, applying a bit more pressure. Billy Kid does respawn halfway there for top. And that's going to probably call off the play for TSM. A nice defense there for Echo Fox.
Oh my goodness, Echo Fox barely able to hold on here, and luckily for them, they're not going to have one of the big neutral objectives come again very soon. So they can continue, sit inside their base, clear out these super minion waves. And here's a look at the engagement. Dardock again. Ice started off before the super minions did their work. It actually got a very good engagement onto the backline this time. So gets Bjergsen in, even though Sven got out, again to sit through the gank cycle the entire time. And the backline from Echo Fox was able to do enough damage this time with only Altec going down that they do defend around this turret. There goes the Zac passive as Dardock was able to get back up and go deal with those Nexus turrets. But Echo Fox hang on, and they do continue to scale Pastry. Now they're almost all level 18 here, and we're getting on towards that late game.
Yeah, builds are filling up as well. Altec especially is done his 6 items, so kind of the carries in the right place here for Fox. Yes, Huni's build isn't super skinny, a lot of brutality here, no Infinity Edge, but again, can still get work done with the right engage. Breathing Room, however, you got about a minute, Kobe, to say whatever you wanted to say, because that's when the next Baron is spawning.
Yeah, I mean, ideally, with Huni, if he can get gold, he can go into a crit-oriented build, but as of right now, he wants full effectiveness of this lethality, because if you get a good barrel count, you know, they can't get 20. It doesn't matter how bad the 80 carry is if they aren't building any defense. Like this is full offense, and it is an Ezreal very difficult to land one of those chains on. But again, Dardock has actually been quite good with spot engagements and forcing a lot of the cooldowns of the backline. That Echo Fox, they've got some hope. They've been able to fight themselves into open here. Now, though, one of those neutral objectives coming up to force them out of the map. TSM looking to use this Baron to bait.
Trying to find a fight already. Himself out. Shot out, but being silenced by the Malzahar. So looks like it's the right, he'll rejoin the team. The inhibitor is back up soon in the top side, so Fox don't need to kill those minions for too much longer to be able to contest the Baron that's up in 3 seconds.
All right, Echo Fox having to walk through vision now to try and check, and they're getting some dangerous territory as TSM attempting to poke over the wall.
Oh, sleep on a Mike Young. Phoenix, they just get a little bit of poke, and the wall must should help him back up control in no time at all. TSM, again, draining Fox's vision around this area.
All right, it's going to come down to the engagement here. Huni looking...
Monster is not here. Actually, he's going to have to run back up. Campfire ulti might start it off. Mike Young into the backline with a stone play, but Sven, he's going to go in. Bjergsen zoned out as Altec looks to get him. No! Oh my god, suppressed back as Altec will get the kill. But still a little far away from the rest of the fight. Haunter low though, trying to refill up, does do so very quickly. Dardock wasting the ulti as he looks for the re-engage. Phoenix looking to poke down, but getting low. Stick shot misses though. That was just bizarre, but Bjergsen's down for 45 seconds.
Yeah, the Echo Fox assassination mission on Bjergsen complete once again. As they continue to target him, they take down the Malzahar. They again buy themselves some more time. They're able to now clear out the waves and reset some of the vision as well. This one is turning right back to very much a danger zone. Pastry time. Yeah, Baron Buff is going to be a constant pressure point for both teams.
Briefly in the audience. Very nervously watching this game unfold. We're almost 45 minutes through. Fox have held themselves in, and now they're going to make an aggressive play on the Baron. Bjergsen dead still for 10 seconds. No summoners fell off.
Yeah, it's down to 7,000. Mike Young looking for a steal.
Dies the Haunter! Didn't pop the ulti button, does have it as Dardock looks to re-engage back through. Asleep though is Ben. Chops down! Altec jumps in and grabs the shutdown. Haunter still alive though, but Altec should have the damage to burn through it. Ultimate there from Gangland going to tie Haunter down forever as Phoenix grabs another kill. Fox
Bjergsen is alive, but he's heading to the minion wave down bottom, so TSM have made the call to give this one up, or have MikeYoung play a suicide mission here to try and steal it.
The rookie was known for heroics when he first joined the LCS. Altec are going to run interference. MikeYoung is going to try and get back in, but that flag's too far away.
He's going back!
The flash going to look for a buster shot from Altec. Gives Fox the Baron.
Oh my goodness, they've fought themselves back into it. Now they've turned the tables. Baron buff on Echo Fox, full range Tristana, late game Gangplank. Zoe getting the picks here, and this is a look at the 4v5. Adrian does get annihilated early, but again, that opens up Echo Fox to chase down Sven. You look at that bubble, it lands. They're able to crit him right out of the bubble as well, and instantly take down the TSM 80 carry without that extra damage threat. Everyone turns to Haunter. They take him down, and Echo Fox regaining control.
And as quickly as I said, he looked nervous. Rickbox is fired back up. Echo Fox has found new life here, just as we approach the 45-minute mark. 0 damage for Adrian in the last team fight. Didn't need it. Bjergsen also adding a bit to that one. Of course, he was dead. And now Fox on the offensive, looking to really take some of these turrets back in. A 6-turret difference, but that will not last for long.
Echo Fox showing some cool and some late game poise. Is that going in onto Adrian?
Put in the Cataclysm, but Adrian pops the ulti, gonna try and buy a little bit more time. Stun back up by the Braum passive as Minty lets it go. Glacial Fissure scores a field goal. He falls asleep. Unbreakable up, block it.
Oh, Hanser goes in!
Yeah, looking to make the aggressive play, draining Adrian of all those health. A big Hemo Black Hanser takes down Adrian. Gets a lot of his life back as Phoenix tries to find the poke.
TSM now with the power play, 5 versus 4. That's 50 seconds left on the Alistar. There is no large objective up, but they're running down mid lane to the exposed inhibitor, and they should be able to use this 5-on-4 to take down one of the inhibitors. This is still a very big advantage that you can get with the super minions adding that little bit of extra pressure. Hurricane's still a very big threat though.
If it's too Kobe, if something goes wrong, TSM might take close. I'll take carefully. One hit's gonna go down. That was almost a guarantee. For TSM, will they stay for more?
What a big play from Hansen to open this up. There's only now 17 seconds left on Adrian. And you got to think that Echo Fox is going to pull the trigger again as soon as that Alistar is up. They do have flashes on him.
Yeah, he'll be zooming down as well as TSM will try and take the second inhib. Hanser frontlining for a little bit. Altec is just letting Mythy have it. Unbreakable is up, but the inhib does stay up.
Yeah, Adrian's alive, so they can't commit to this. Echo Fox barely defend inhibitor number 2 on the top side.
All right, well, next bit of pressure coming in a minute 20. As Elder Dragon is up, still a minute on
they're
the
sticking around and actually pinging for the rush here from TSM.
All right, looks like the bait was taken there by Fox. They'll rush out and they will not be able to defend this. Hanser, but the engage could cost them. Gangplank ulti is Dark, dives into the tipping, it's interrupted by Minty. Stunned to the front line, knocked up by MikeYoung, and overcommit perhaps as Dark is just gonna live. The passive finally buff. Altec though takes down Hanser and Fox. He's gonna try and turn it back around. Minty blocking what he can. Silences, they dive in, but Dark straight to the team. Looks the abduction. The fight goes back and aggressive. MikeYoung getting low on the other side. It's Phoenix. Unstoppable takes out Minty. A trumpet from Altec. Oh, he barely lives from the crit. Phoenix looking for blood, trying to find the runners from TSM.
What an incredible scramble here. MikeYoung still has to run though. Phoenix is on the chase.
Picking up against Ben, also completely caught behind.
That was so crucial for the reset. And
oh no! Fucking wedge. Rooney does what he can. Oh, he redirects the cannon. Rooney something in him. Less than 100 lives.
Oh my god! 3 inhibitors is saved there. Rooney doesn't let the last one go down. Elder Dragon is on the table though. The TSM have control of the map. Scuttlecraft give them extra vision as well as the speed boost, but Echo Fox have the numbers. 50 kills, 20 seconds in the Death Chamber means that Echo Fox should be able to get the extra burn damage despite losing most of the inhibs.
Just dead for a little too long. Minty's still 10 seconds away, and that's Elder Dragon easily over to Echo Fox.
There's so many key plays to point out in this fight that you can't even say them quick enough. A sleepy bubble landed onto Hanser there after the re-engage, and that allowed Echo Fox to turn the fight around as they bursted him down, even though it looked like TSM had gotten the early pick there and burned. What an incredible late game here, and now Echo Fox with late game Infinity Edge now on Gangplank. Infinity Edge is fully ready. Tristana with 6 offensive items, no boots. They've been sold, have plenty of threat. They've finally scaled up Pastry, and you get your late game dream.
Well, the gold that is now basically irrelevant as everyone fills up their inventories, is very close as Fox have clawed all the way back into this game. They were 10,000 gold behind with TSM having a second Baron, and they have held on for the last 20 to 25 minutes. Still problems though, that last inhib is sticking out like a sore thumb.
Still problems. The inhibitors are the key advantage for TSM right now, trying to work with these super minions to try and whittle down the last one in bottom lane here. Now, Huni does such a good job of clearing out these on the game flank, and we mentioned how great he does scale into the late game. Him as well, 6 offensive items, doesn't have any boost. He's able to blow those things up, and you can see him in top side, waiting to use the teleport as well as the ultimate.
TSM someone's gonna find Dardoch. They can get him, it's not bad, but actually Horns is gonna get tied up, pulls out of the way. Bubble not good, Dardoch now gonna take some damage, gives the GP automatic. Horns puts him in the status early, needs to get out, does barely escape with his slide, but what can they do? No outtake, does take him down. Venice on the other side, is Phoenix dominating. That's 3 down on TSM. Doing everybody up as Michael. He's trying to escape from Phoenix. Phoenix looks at the angle, doesn't find the bubble.
Bjergsen is actually going down bottom lane. Okay, he's going for the recall now. They have to try and defend, buy time for the rest of their members to revive. Oh! Hasn't fully completed the recall. He's gonna try and take out the inhibitor first.
2 recalls for TSM.
I mean, Fox are looking to end the game,
Only
right?
1 completed. Mike Young is sticking around. Goes to the back, they're going to try and clear out this wave.
He needs to cut off the minion wave so that they can't take off the armor from the turret.
All right, done it. Now he's going to get out. He's going to take him down. It's a pretty good health off the cloud drake. Flag and drag not complete. Stun line up for the passive. Phoenix looks for the bubble, doesn't grab it, but Althek should be more than enough. Flag and drags out. Warmox needs to work overtime if he can get out in time. A barrel. Convenient over who to speed him up. There's the split. Flag and drag miss. Mike Young goes down.
Oh, he doesn't get the EQ over the wall. I think the range was a little bit moved. Sometimes if you put the flag into a wall and it's over 50% through the wall, it will get nudged to the other side. However, you don't get afforded the same extension on your Q. Your Dragon Lance only extends certain range, and if the flag was moved out of that range, then you don't complete the combo. So that's often what it is. It's not a misclick. But he does go down, but in any case, Mike bought enough time for the rest of the members to revive. Here's TSM trying to get back out on the map, and Fox burning down Baron.
Yeah, it's going to be a 4 of these 5 around this Baron. They do not take it. Mike Young still dead for 30 more seconds. Baron equalized, I believe, in this game as Fox take the 4th, tying it up at 2-2. And 1 inhibitors respawn. The top one should be back up soon. It's actually back up right now. Echo Fox have finally gotten this game to even.
Yeah, I mean, TSM, the options are actually becoming limited for them now because of the scaling you mentioned for Echo Fox, and they've been able to buy time for all their inhibitors now to finally reach. So they have constantly been dealing with the extra pressure of supers pushing from TSM. Now TSM actually have to get a little bit creative because Echo Fox have been the ones with the good starts to these fights, and it's very easy for their damage to follow up on Dardoch's engagements. All right, here they come straight up through the front line. TSM actually recalling from the bottom. It looks like they're going to have their last stand defense at mid.
Yep, don't talk for too long because Echo Fox will start a team fight if you do. Action-packed has been the story of their games all weekend long.
These big ultimates and the passive attack that we talked about are so crucial for the front line of Echo Fox. In the late game, you can't compare defensive items to defensive abilities. They've been able to utilize those to get those clearing up the minions. Very little health left off.
Setup. Fox right now with the Baron up to 4 minutes. Start off. Ready to start fighting. Moving forward. Forces TSM back for a little while longer. Bubble up in siege mode. Mike Young dives in. Bit of a mistake. Goes airborne. Now it's stop mode. He pops the stone plate in time. GPL down, doing a lot of good damage. Hornstar is trying to find the angle on the Hemo plate.
Dodge.
Keeps him out, but Mike Young low. Very, very low.
Ooh.
Too low.
Yeah, a bunch of frontline health and abilities traded there, as well as double summoners on Altec. These become extremely crucial, as the next team fight could very well be the end of the game.
Well, Low is not dead, was Warmox ticks back over for Mike Young, so I would say a pretty positive trade actually for TSM, just based on what is important right now, this late into the game. But again, this game is somehow all tied back up. With a minute and 10 left on Baron Buff, Fox might be able to force something on the Siege, but my best guess is we're going to either next Elder or next Baron, because I don't think Fox can do too much with the minute they have left.
All right, well, they're going to try and make a liar out of you, Pastry, because they're headed up the mid lane, and Dardoch's got vision.
He's already prepped. Maybe one last Baron empowered. Siege here for Echo Fox again. Can take their time. TSM did a good job defending last time, though. Let's see if they can keep that up. Dardoch into the team, looks for the backline. Big up Duck finds two, but the carries aren't quite there. Haunter needs to get into the fight if he can, but he can't quite. Damage on the mid, he's trying to block what he can. Does get moved out of the way. Suppresso into the Dardoch with the passive. He's going to pop Haunter, gets damage down. Emu playing is nice, gets his health back, but he gets killed by Altec before he can complete it. Nobody gets out of the way as well. 4v5 for so long, Kobe.
He got back up, and that's going to be 5v4 now as Echo Fox try and finish off the turret.
A liar indeed. Sven getting aggressive. Little two though is Bjergsen. Forced to burn the stakes as Altec ready and waiting. Bjergsen goes down to Huni. In hit falls. This could be it, Kobe.
Yep, they're trying to finish it up. 5 members of Echo Fox strong with the cannon minion up mid, but TSM fighting valiantly.
Young dives back in, just trying to buy the time. Stone play pump. Sven and Minty doing what damage they can, but it's so tricky with Justin Ezreal. One more fall. TSM's death times are so long. It's a European duo. Try and save the game for TSM, but Sven, he's going to go down Huni with one more bullet, gets the crit and takes them down.
And that will be Echo Fox alone in the TSM base to finish it.
They had a minute left, and in 55.5 minutes, they will claim it. Undefeated, but barely so. They sweep another weekend and take down TSM.
What an opening game we have today, Pastry.
And it's so funny to think how differently these teams played based on the early signs we had seen in the season. TSM playing faster, trying to push the game while looking much more coordinated. And Echo Fox not off to the same early game lead, not able to snowball through top lane. Huni got pretty much destroyed for the first 30 minutes of that game thanks to Haunter and Mike Young. And still, what coordination and composure for this young team, relatively speaking, as far as how long they've been playing together, to take a win versus TSM.
And that's a key phrase, Pastry. The composure and the poise from Echo Fox in the late game, where people are going to question them most when the pressure is on. They were able to hold strong and delay it long enough. Meanwhile, TSM, big plays in the early game. Very well played early on, getting their top lane snowballing, using that Vladimir as far as the team fighting, and getting so much done, but not quite enough as Echo Fox stand strong and take the victory, remaining undefeated, now 4-0 in the North American LCS.
And they could, be, of course, retain sole possession of that, depending on how the 100 Thieves game earlier today does go, but I just can't stop throwing credit at this team, and I think Dardoch does deserve so much here. I mean, if you think about Dardoch when he entered the league, playing the likes of Udyr, playing these big carry champions like Rengar, would you ever expect him on a team like this to just be playing Zac and just being such a good tank player of all things?
I think the turning point for me was when I saw the video where Dardoch was talking about Huni and the effect that Huni had on him. When Huni came in, he was like, you're doing this wrong, you're doing this wrong, you need to fix this. And Dardoch was like, what am I going to say? He was on SKT. It's Huni. He's clearly...
I guess I listened to him. And Huni, to his credit, again, also just clawed his way back into this game. I mean, still a ton of lethality. Got put behind, but apparently didn't matter enough. To hear more about that very intense game, let's send it over to Overly May and the Echo Fox support.
Thanks, guys. I'm here with Adrian. Congratulations on that win, finishing the week 2-0, undefeated in the split. I have to ask you, how were you guys able to rally together in that game and make that comeback?
Yeah, like, even when we fell behind, we talked that we could always come back because TSM mid-late game was really weak when we see previously, because even when we fell behind, they were really slow with their actions and like they let us come back really easy. So we were really confident coming back in if we were behind.
I want to ask you a little bit about the bot lane duo. You and Altec, you've played together for a while now, and you guys have been super successful. So what makes your bot lane so great?
I think we just have amazing synergy, and like we always want to do the things together because we're just really good at the game and we like playing with each other.
And these games are definitely exciting for the fans to watch. Yesterday, Dardoch said that he was having a lot of fun with the games. Are you having fun with the games? And if so, does that affect your play at all?
Yeah, I'm definitely enjoying myself. Like, this is a really fun meta. It's not really fun, but like our team is really good, so we're having fun because we're not scared like other teams, and we make plays when we can. So yeah, it's been really fun for Echo Fox.
Well, I want to ask you a little bit about TSM, the opponents that you guys played today. You played against them last year as well. With all the new changes, is the TSM that you played today, do you think, an upgrade or a downgrade from last year?
I still think it's an upgrade. I just think it will take a long time to get together because I think they're just having miscommunication problems right now. So I think by the playoffs, they'll be really strong.
Well, thank you so much for this interview. And to wrap up the games, we're going to hear it from the State Farm Analyst Desk.
Thank you very much, Avli. A lot of confidence in the TSM squad from their opponents in terms of where they might get by the end of the split. But, Jat, we set up the win conditions for these teams. What happened for TSM? Things were looking so good for so long in that game.
Get a favorable matchup top lane. Echo Fox will fight you when you're ahead. Then you'll win those fights, right?
Right?
Guys?
Those two things happened. The two things you laid out happened, but there was a breakdown somewhere.
There was.
Dardoch played out of his mind. Maybe not right away, but later on he started
his late game was disgusting on the Zac, but I kind of want to work through the game as it pertained to these win conditions. So let's go straight to that top lane. Let's look at this Vladimir versus GP matchup.
This is how I think the GP should be punished by a lot of teams with the Vladimir and with a little bit of ganking early, because as soon as you hit 6, there's not much the GP can do. I think Huni misplayed that a little bit because he had stopwatch and flash up, but once you get that lead, Haunter had a 7-minute Frost Queen's claim. You just get a bunch of extra gold and continue to punish.
And that's the thing, continue to punish. So even though he saved his stopwatch, you're saying, well, he has flash and stopwatch, so even if he went down, he can save it for later. But the Vladimir is too far ahead at this point. He starts getting solo kills once what you saw CLG kind of try and do yesterday, where you start flipping attention down to the bot lane. They just didn't execute down the bot side from CLG. Here, TSM was getting leads in the bot side after getting Haunter super far ahead, dominated Huni for taking that blind pick GP.
Yeah, and it was a brawl early that Haunter was winning, but then as the game progressed, like, you really got to see how well Echo Fox was dealing with TSM's leads. Like, when they were finding the engages, they were almost always catching Bjergsen early on in the fights. They were always focusing Haunter when he was targetable in those fights, which is really difficult to do when you're working around Pool, the heal he gets from his ultimate, as well as his Zhonya's. But so many of those fights, Haunter would be in the middle of it and then popped because everyone was just bursting him at the right moments.
I mean, but you called it, right? The fact that Echo Fox would be the team that's looking for the fights, regardless of where, you know, their position in terms of a gold lead. So even from a deficit, still being the ones to take the initiations and eventually finding some fights that would break open the game, buy them a Baron or two, and open up the space for Dardoch to start doing work on the Zac.
Absolutely, and this is why Dardoch is such a monster on the Zac. He goes for this engage, doesn't land it perfectly at the start, but watch how he threads a Q past Haunter on to Sven, who has no ult or flash available anymore, tries to shift out, he's already dead. Now Haunter is alone.
Some stones are
Front line's completely abandoning him. This is after that they picked off Malzahar Bjergsen at the start of this replay. So overall, once they kind of stabilized the game a little bit off of a bot lane defense, every single time it was Dardoch starting things off and finding key members. And even if he didn't necessarily pull them into his team, he out frontlined the entire side of TSM. There was never a time where Haunter lived longer or Mike Young was living longer.
Yeah, it felt like it too. And I mean, Huni recovered. Like that is why I think as well so many people are still willing to early pick the Gangplank, because even if you're getting blasted early, like, you're getting your gold, you're getting your items, and then he was a beast in team fights.
Busy saving
seemingly
the world.
taken to a sliver of health every single time, and never dying and continuing to stay in the fight.
That brings us to the final fight. Of course, the game did extend for a fair number of minutes afterwards, but one more time, an extended brawl here to close out the game for Echo Fox.
Just reminding, that's Dardoch into a turret. He pulls the front line. You think maybe it hasn't worked, but then just they reestablish their own front line so quickly. Bjergsen never able to get a fatal ultimate off. And here, this was super perplexing to me, right? No one is actually focusing the Zac as much as they should, because I think they're expecting a teleport from Huni, but it never comes in. And at that point, Echo Fox just keeps the pressure up.
Yeah, I mean, Zac effectively one-man zoned that fight for a solid 30 to 40 seconds.
Yeah, and once his Warmog starts going, gets starting healthy again, jumps right back on Bjergsen. They get that kill, and he keeps leading them to these kills. Good, pretty good play out of Phoenix over the course of this game. I wouldn't say it was ideal, but it shows the strength of the champion and why a lot of people don't want to leave Zoe up. You don't even really need to play it optimally to find a lot of kills and damage over the course of the game. He was a big factor in stalling the game out until Dardoch was the one kind of carrying them. So it was a good show by the mid-jungle duo of Echo Fox yet again.
Yeah, and how many of those last right on the money by Dardoch time and time again. Phoenix had a really good performance on Zoe. We were actually saying it was one of the more, quote, underwhelming Zoes, but you look up, he has the most damage on the team, had probably the best KDA as well, so he was landing enough really clutch drowsies in team fights to pull it over the top. And, I mean, looking at the goal graph of that game, absolutely a squandered win for TSM. This is a game that should have been a win after 35 minutes.
This is a situation where we are somewhat critical of TSM's aggressiveness and playmaking. They had a pretty huge lead at 22 minutes, and Jad and I were like, hey, if they get a Baron before 30 and start pushing down some inhibs, that's great. And they did exactly that. So it felt like they were 100% on pace for this game before they just started coming off the rails as Echo Fox picked the fights, and they were always the one picking the fights. You never saw the Jarvan Malzahar blow somebody up after catching them out of position.
Yeah, and there's two elements to this, right? As even Adrian alluded to in the interview, TSM clearly is slow in the late game. And Echo Fox is the fastest team at making decisions and sticking to that call. So going for the Baron, jumping for those fights, it did not work to their detriment this game. It was to their benefit, and that's why they won.
Yeah, I mean, you heard yesterday in the player stream, Huni always yelling Baron. They find that one pick off.
Huni was shot calling the game from the player lounge, which was fantastic to hear, but you can see how that kind of energy and the quick thinking that Huni can bring to a team can really help propel it forward when it comes to taking advantage. Up next, we got Cloud9 versus 100 Thieves. That game starts up after the break. See you soon.
I can tell you what's on this scroll, but then I'd have to incorporate you.
We don't huddle because our personalities are.
I mean, we can't be that close to each other. We're gonna fist fight.
Well,
I mean, we're gonna brawl on stage.
A bit more time, but he is gonna go down to Altec Dardoch on the other side for the stopwatch as Bjergsen goes. Oh, he got it! Let's go Altec Dardoch! Dardoch down as well! We'll go down to Bjergsen.
I'm going. Tris? Yeah, I'm fine.
Do it. Nice!
Get him.
Oh my god.
Taking him.
Altec does manage to take him down. Hunter again, no! Dives out of the Zoe, actually! Bit of a misstep as Mycon's gonna try and take one back. They do get Altec.
Hey, no flash! Nice!
J4!
Look at that!
That knows on you. Block.
Nice!
But what can they do? No, Altec does take him down. Sven is on the other side. It's Phoenix dominating. That's 3 down on TSM.
As you know, E. Look at this!
I remember when
Ezreal, no flash!
Push him in.
Push him in! Nice job, guys. Nice fucking job.
Oh, shit.
Welcome to Assist of the Week, presented by State Farm. Since we know the importance of lending a hand, we want to highlight players and plays that help the team bring home the big W. If you have a favorite assist during Week 1 of the NALCS that you want us to highlight, use the clip with the hashtag NALCS and the hashtag StateFarmAssist, and we may feature it in a future episode. So get out there and bring some support.
Fast and lean. That's how I play. When I found them all, I'll fade away. You won't win this. None are worthy of my task. I win. Magic doomed us. Perhaps it's my back? Not your concern. Insist. Do not walk with history. rot. Power changes everything. A moment to gather our runes. Get out of the way. Blood won't spill. Everyone is doomed to repeat history. That's the my coming. I fight so they don't have to. Makers guide me.
Hello and welcome back for game 2 where Cloud9 heads under the rift opposite 100 Thieves. So we're looking to try and retain that undefeated record, Kobe.
I mean, it's definitely hype already, right? Echo Fox is the undefeated team. Looking to have one join us here, and we'll see if, Migos versus his old team is going to be able to do that. He's talked a lot about, playing with those guys and knowing who's there.
We'll have to find out. And with that, we'll take a look at the starting lineup. First up, selecting blue side, it's Cloud9. Not quite undefeated, but looking to have a good record in the top lane. The rookie Licorice in the jungle, Svenskeren, and mid laner Jensen, bot Sneaky, his support Smoothie, and their coach Reapid.
And on the red side, it is 100 Thieves. Someday in the top lane, Meteos in the jungle, Ryu mid lane, Cody Sun bottom, and Afromoon support. Crawley is on stage coaching them, and he has done such a good job kind of coordinating these guys outside of the game, getting them in with a good early game plan, as well as kind of coaching them through the kind of meta game and the overall gameplay. They have really been able to have a good team start to
Certainly impressive. He was 8 to the team total, but yesterday with this heavy tough task of facing Mooney, and unfortunately for the rookie top laner, it doesn't get easier at all as he now has to play Someday.
Yeah, I mean, Licorice, he performed very well in the early game yesterday. There was a couple of moments later on in the game fighting where Power's gone more effective, so that could have happened, but definitely a strong performance. And overall, Someday has been a monster. He's still a monster, and nothing has changed there. So another very tough test for Licorice coming right up back-to-back.
Has been slotting well into Cloud9, their bot lane. They've also been performing excellently, and they are the next test for Cody and Afromoon.
Yeah, and Cody actually, after their game yesterday, in the interview, pointed out Cloud9's bottom lane, they were one of the duos that was very high on the double teleport, the double summoner spellbook on the bottom lane, but he was not a big fan. Didn't like it at all, and he was very confident coming into this matchup.
You will have to see in Champ Select is Cloud9 fan away Izzy and Braum Tom Kench on the other side there for 100 Thieves. So 2 support and a mid laner, but pretty standard stuff here.
Yeah, Braum and the Nile King himself, Tom Kench, off the board. Honestly, with the Azir banned here, Ryzen Malzahar, very high priority. They might want to whittle down on that pool as the AD carries do start coming through.
Yeah, Sneaky has actually drawn quite a lot of AD carry bans in recent games. Of course, we are still early into the season. Kog'Maw, I suppose, will join that mix. A C9 with a final ban of Phase 1.
They know so little of the world they
Yeah, Kog'Maw just is broken right now. He deals a ridiculous amount of damage, hyper-scaling AD carry that also just scales off one item. So it's not like you have to wait super late into the game in order to maybe play and play around Kog'Maw. Is so strong that a lot of competitive are banning him out at the moment. And there's the Zoe, not going to be in this game.
No, actually banning Brom actually away from the side, so he's not interested in first picking up the hack since 100 Thieves ban away Jace. Lots of respect for the leader. That up against the team yesterday.
But Kalista is up once again. Since Braum is banned out, Ornn goes up a bit in priority as he's up again and the ultimate can't be negated. As well, we already mentioned the Malzahar is Raven. That is very high possibility.
So all those trends to set one.
Yeah, a lot of people have been wondering why there wasn't higher priority on for like for the King Jungler, for the Sage One, for the King Jarvis, but One9 gonna grab it very quickly here and kind of wait to see the double pickup from the MCs before they try and respond. It makes me think, especially since Reaper has been so heavily intent in crafting counter picks, that Cloud9 have been one of the teams kind of on the forefront of like Zillion and Malzahar and crafting some more jungle picks to get ready for things that they're really wanting to try and more combat what their opponents are trying to do and attack their goal than just go down a straight list of tier 1, grab that one, tier 2 pick, grab the next highest priority.
Well, Ezreal and Gnar kind of fit into the other camp there. Very high priority champions overall. Give it Sunday to Gnar and of course Ezreal for Cody. Cloud9, I think part of the reason they didn't do the set is there's quite a lot open. Because like the first phase fans had a lot of tires down in it. So it looks like that'll be... Okay, we'll wait. It looks like an on briefly, but it's actually going to be Camille. For Licorice, I believe, can be played jungle. It's pretty rare though, and Licorice does love this champion. I think also his champion.
Yeah, I mean, they may have been looking for an Ornn earlier on with the Braum ban, but with a Gnar being up here early, they're definitely trying to get some kill pressure onto the Gnar. You know, Camille, especially with Sejuani, they can stack up the passive stacks for a stun very quickly. Camille basically just engages with her wall jump stun. Sejuani able to follow up very quickly, so that's a lot of threat and even dive potential, honestly, on a Gnar, especially mini form, since a Camille always gets to choose the engagement time. So a lot of threat there from Cloud9 and a nice little adaptation for the top side. Meanwhile, Taric, the fighting presence, maybe has been one of the premier Tarics in the North American LCS for quite a long time.
What a better way to dive into the Taric ulti. As looks like diving come the other side as well. Meteos on the Zac. Of course, a long pocket pick of his.
The original North American Zac, KDA King Meteos. I was wondering, I concluded after last week to him, when is he going to pick the Zac back up after such popularity as he's been going to everybody trying to get their hands on the crowd control. I just saw Dardoch play a very good Zac TSM. Meteos also going to follow this one up here.
Kind of a similar train of thought with, you know, where are the tank junglers? I think pretty quickly players are realizing just how good Zac is, so his stock seems to be rising here in the NLCS.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about the weaknesses, because he's not without his weaknesses, and the reason people were fairly trepid to pick him before, the early game on Zac is punishable. It's difficult to punish it on Sejuani. It can be done, but usually it would be a much more offensive game. And a lot of junglers were, especially from solo queue, you're kind of conditioned against, you know, punishing champions early like that. So Zac here in competitive gets through the early game a lot easier with people protecting and being able to farm up. Once Zac gets his farm though, the engagements, you talk about the long range, you talk about the multiple forms of CC and the length of that CC. It's really been able to highlight the strengths of Zac while kind of covering up the possible invades that people would want to do on him early.
Well, bans are done for this draft here as two ADs continuing to get taken away from Sneaky. Triss and Sivir, with Ezreal already picked, will go off the board, and Alistar, the ball ban, and a Ryze ban actually there from Cloud9. So I think trying to shift the mid lane towards maybe a particular set of picks, but there's Shen going to save counter pick there for 100 Thieves.
Yeah, and you would think the particular set of picks would be, oh, they're going to pick Malzahar, we'll do the Jensen Zillion again, so it wouldn't really be a big surprise without that kind of field that's floating around right now. Because 100 Thieves opt for another tank here, tanking the bottom side as well as taking the jungle, and Gnar maybe semi-tank, I guess, for someday in the top side. They definitely have a very beefy front line and looking for huge DPS from the mid laner, from Reason, which is performing quite well.
especially in the earlier stages, and can snowball those rank. Kind of the question is, what if it is the line here? That's Malzahar. He's probably going to get it to Ryu. So if you pick Malzahar, maybe Ryu has his own kind of pick.
Jensen gonna take up the Sophia blind here. This has been a champion that's fallen a slight bit by the wayside because we keep talking about Azir, Malzahar, Ryze as the 3 from here that's been circulating, but Philia still with heavy mid-hit to really roam around effectively. If you look at the overall strategy for Cloud9, they crafted Camille. He spiked so hard on Trinity Force. He goes once, items on her with Derek and stuff, he's ready to go. They already have the guaranteed Carrick and Sejuani kind of big teamfight presence. You combo that with a Kalista, who also spikes very heavily off of 1 to 2 items with a roaming mid laner. Cloud9 making a very clear, strong mid-game effort here to try and take over this game before it really does get out of hand. And then, as you see there, no big surprise. Malzahar does find his way to get another game, and it definitely does have a threatening ultimate, and you can look for the combos with dash, layering, or something. And you always have to mention with this champion, as you can push out the damage over time.
On the other side, Philia's did drop off a lot due to just having her mana being so much worse with a bunch of nerfs. But thankfully, with all the rune changes, mana flow ban is real good value. Curious to see how Jensen plays it. My mind is not something you plays that often. I think Cloud9 finally actually got a lot of leads with that last year and then weren't very good at closing their games out. So we'll see if there's change their season here. I will say both these teams are doing a great job of getting in on playing the simple stuff and finding success. For Cloud9, I'm impressed with how early they're just getting adapted, playing different comps and getting out of their comfort zone.
And I'm impressed that they are putting this much into Licorice, right? Exactly. Licorice is their new rookie star on the top side. He's picking Camille into the Gnar. Definitely a good matchup. They're going to look for some jumps there onto Someday. See if they can actually get this Camille up to the Trinity Force. Maybe even there right after it. Really hit it home and start to snowball.
Well, looks like it's 4th unique champ in a row for Licorice. Also, my favorite is from Solo Q in Camille. Can he smash another Korean top laner in a 1v1?
Whoa there. I mean, yesterday was definitely impressive from Licorice. He played the Jace, another very offensive champion. He had a very high forward percentage, which is time spent past your the midpoint line of the map. That is to be expected with Jace. But he was playing it very well, very aggressively. Able to dodge skill shots as far as the ganks that were coming in towards him. So definitely a lot of confidence here for the Cloud9 squad across the board, especially in their lean members. Meanwhile, 100 Thieves. Talk about confidence. These are a bunch of veterans, and they have shown it. Another one of the undefeated teams in the league looking to keep pace with Echo Fox, who got their victory earlier today.
Get out of the way.
Well, again, everyone's getting back out. Had a slight scuffle in the mid lane between Jensen and Ryu. That has all settled. Cody and Afro just poking around.
Time to win.
Consider
yourself lucky for the days.
Well, yeah, I think or an extra attack decision, but it does help a bit. So the you get when you get your auto up, try to make sure you're able to land the second half of your W. So it's a little bit healthy for you, but a lot of people really like it half as well. Strong option. Although, especially being competitive, you definitely want to have Zombie Ward if you can afford it. And since Garen has Zombie that, you can see dominant. Almost always. The full duration, even starting out in the game, snowball. Competitive. Here we go, though. Go for the stun. Someday should come in as expected. And then pop back there.
Good mechanics there in the top lane. Certainly a matchup they should both know fairly well. Assuming Meteor also has it.
What's on my back?
Secondary
not your
choices.
concern.
So certainly a lot of what we've been seeing as Jensen doing the push on early versus Ryu. And let's flick back to Jensen. Ryu might be forced back. It'll be an early swap to that
It's
TP
another day we live.
here for the Malzahar.
Very good exchange there from Jensen. And you can see in this matchup here with Taliyah, she wants to make use of the burst damage, but not the extended damage over time from Malzahar. So goes for the W. As soon as you see the W, goes down the field and then quickly runs away. Great. Meanwhile, with the trade one there on the mid lane, Svenskeren goes for an invade here. This has been an interesting duo for Cloud9. People expected Jensen to go for a lot of coordinated plays. They've actually had some good synergy early on.
I feel like kind of ramping up yesterday. We saw quite a lot of that between the two Danes.
I read the room.
Champion like Taliyah to shove the lane and then get back up to help his jungler.
Meanwhile, should shout out the defense here. Someday wards the Krugs for his jungler, protecting Meteos' valuable gold on his side of the map. Sometimes you'll assume the enemy jungler has got to steal your Krugs already, which has been very commonplace. But since Cloud9's bottom lane is also pushing up, Someday rightfully thought that they would need a little bit of extra vision there. Meteos moves in, collects his Krug, so he doesn't lose out on that one extra camp. And Sven, after being chased off, is fine going back to F1.
Pushing here for the C9 duo, but Farm has been nice and even. Shouldn't you expect a champion like Kalista to have edges?
I really like the well played with the Taric duos too, because Kalista's so mobile that she, even early on, works very well with the Taric stun. And kind of that you want to get with that. Stun on somebody. Another great option. You can tell, Cloud9 are no stranger to Meteos' jungling. They know he hates, above everything, wards in his jungle, and especially on Zac. If your approach is warded, then it will be very difficult for you to pull off the long-range slingshots that everyone is always so scared of. So Cloud9 put a lot of effort into deep wards and deep counter jungling there. They first went top side, left a lot behind, and then bottom lane pushing up, after that vision, and they track the Zac. Now, after he finishes Wolves, he will get excited, and Cloud9 can still play around. Meanwhile, they're leaving Liquid on the top side, doing very well with Camille. Gets to the early Sheen, which is the most important item line for this champion. You don't know how she works. With the Q activation, you can get the extra true damage on your second precision protocol, and cross will also benefit from that. So you get huge burst damages, and that's why we always say is king on the champion, and it really kind of transforms the champion altogether.
Back from the fountain there at the duo lane with those double unsealed spellbooks to get back down, and Licorice also burning his.
Yeah, it's been really interesting. The kind of arms race in bottom lane where people going spellbooks. Oh, top side, we have Taliyah.
Here comes the dive on a Someday, level 6, gonna get himself trapped in the real wrong place. First one, with his friend, the Malzahar also left him. Licorice goes unstoppable for a little while longer, flashes out to safety.
I really am going to enjoy this replay because there was a lot of good mechanics here. Meteos going for an
over yet, ult in onto Ryu, gets knocked back in by the Taliyah, and Licorice grabs the next kill. Meteos maybe now in trouble, does have cell division, but
very, very clean moves from Cloud9 here. We already set up the Svenskeren Jensen double roam with the Taliyah as well as the Sejuani. Trying to camp for the top side. This Camille matchup into Gnar can still ball out of control. They do it right off of his team buy, so he adds the extra damage. Then, within that tower dive, Licorice plays it very well. You can see he's going to use his ultimate to drop the tower aggro after he takes one more shot from the Malzahar ultimate to kill him. So, they go for the original kill. Licorice takes the tower aggro because he can dodge tower shots with his ultimate. He then does not critically attack Ryu after using his ultimate on him. Because he does take the tower aggro off you. Then with the re-engage from Meteos, he immediately turn here. Svenskeren ults, very quickly in, and it's a very good turn for Cloud9, getting an extra kill in addition to that summoner from Ryu. So very quick, kind of snowball there off of the top side. It plays right into Cloud9's game of adding super threat into Nod.
Even parlayed into a red buff steal as well, so the Danish duo playing exceptionally well together. Two kills.
Again, this is what having seen champions select kind of rare. So that have laid out. They abuse the early game here, do get the snowballing, and look at the vision. Licorice is really set up well to kind of carry this game as the young guy on the squad and the one with a lot to prove.
Licorice roams down. Again, now he's going to reach the favor perhaps, looking down for either the jungler or the mid laner. Camille also back up and running for Licorice. So the playmaker going to meet the way here. Fake perhaps from Licorice or may have misclicked, but Wave's coming in, so he's clear regardless.
Yep, Licorice not too threatened. It's a Ninja Tabi rush. Doran shield Gnar is about as defensive as you can possibly get because he has to worry about these all-ins. And could definitely come at any moment. Meanwhile, the bottom lane, this is a Glisten lane, as you mentioned, Pastry. Now they're post 6, so the threat mounting there as well. That being said, Shen Ultimate now available for Aphromoo, so they would try and turn around with those all-in on the top side, but Cloud9 should be expected.
Ooh, someday just missed that ulti, and here's the 2v2. Meteor's already been spotted. Gonna have to get out of there already. He's gonna go back into the stun. He dodges out of the stun, but there, unstoppable instant. Go moving Cuba. Here comes Afro, like you mentioned. Sunday getting away, but that's not enough. That's one. But he's gonna Licorice, but gets it up. Trying to take it down. Meteor's done. Abduct Licorice and take it down, but through the up here as well. A flash shot finds Meteor, but it's just the passive that might get popped and doesn't even go down.
And the Aphromoo Shen Ultimate that we mentioned. Sometimes they don't keep track of that coming from a support position. But post level 6, he is the determining factor here in the difference of this top lane play. Cloud9 does go along with the exact same game plan, but Aphromoo barely turns this around as they're able to nullify the games on top. Okay, so here they come through. He's got all this vision. Some days ult is down. He's got mini Gnar. This is like perfect setup, right? But Meteos expects that he is here. Aphromoo from the bottom side is looking. See on the mini map, Aphromoo even runs into a jungle. 5 times the Sunday. Then they have a double counter. Back. And even with all that, barely get away with it since Smoothie as well. Just not as quick and not as impactful as
Still down about 1,000 gold. Keeping Toronto up. That top side.
Yep, gonna have to try and shove the wave. You E on a minion, Q for the extra damage so they get low, and then spam your poison. Hope they
Great little play there from Liquid, but another wonderful hop from Someday. Prevents himself from getting stunned.
Meanwhile, Meteos has had a tough job clearing out all that vision he talked about in his jungle, right? So Zach is going over vision right now. This could be very dangerous. Right now, though, they do have an extra summoner in the 2v2 up top, and with all this attention top, the bottom lane quietly for bonus hurt gold down to them, also on the board down. So both teams have a knowledge.
Yep, he's going to win this 2v2. Everyone wants to Garen, yep, going to get jumped by Meteor. Talia's already here, though. Jensen has runs up, didn't need the ulti. TB comes back in. Liquor, we're going to try and lock down the target, but Sunday's about to go Maga. He does get stunned, but he Narspan into the wall. Damage is good. Ryu gets knocked back in by Jensen. He's trying to run interference. Meteor getting low. Going to get isolated by Camille. Licorice barely able to get the flash happening. It's Ryu gets the Zhonya's down. Stays as good as Jensen. Will collect the kill on the other side. Now it's just 2v2 as he tries to TB out. Meteor gets alive for a little while longer. That was the blob he actually wanted to protect. But Jensen grabs the double and still has ulti if he wants to chase. He does, looking for Meteos again. Meteos, the old member of Cloud9 as Jensen doesn't quite grab it. Now Afro finds the taunt, but not in turret range. Smoothie roaming up as well. Jensen shoves Afro back.
Oh, this is the League of Spellbook game. We've got bottom laners turning their eyes. All last year, everyone was complaining. Oh, there's 5 people bottom lane. Oh, everybody's getting up on bottom lane. Now the bottom laners are getting those kills, but if they're supporting them, there's Spellbook teleport. Again, though, Reed, you mentioned it's hard for him to keep up with all these quick global plays. He tries here again with the teleport. Cloud9 on the Talia. Jensen was already activated the river, and they're able to make it happen. So, Eagle starts there on with Garen. They think they've got the edge here. Teleport comes in from Ryu across the side. Someday goes Mega, gets the stun. Then Meteos' ultimate is able to finish off that kill with not a lot of damage, but Jensen has annihilated Ryu during this time, and Licorice flashes for the execute, but Ryu, even though he had a well-timed stopwatch to deny the kill from Licorice, he still has Jensen on
Jensen cuts it a lot, but does not grab it, but still looking strong. You won't win this. Cody just out of that dash. Just by shoving up the way, beating in the face of 100 Thieves. We're getting the all the Nova things. They're going to see a front stage, and it has earned them this early game goal lead. How are that bottom lane looks? It's all by themselves, and opens up a lot of the control around the side. They're not putting up on the template. They switch up topside. Topside extremely low. They're trying to pressure this one down. They want to completely open up this map to allow for this Camille. Trinity Force now completed. Split someday.
Another day we live.
Trying to get that control. There's another turret again. Pressure enough in the top side to take down another outer turret.
If I had attacked you,
Steve's going to have to be a little careful. Spence Garen, though, going to get the jump. Jumped on by Meteos' slingshot. Goes unstoppable. Abducts back into the team. Stun. No. Flash out from Spen. Doesn't take the red buff. Somebody got it. I think it was Meteos.
Yeah, I think Meteos was the one to land the second smite there.
I fight so they don't have to.
Actually, whatever.
I think he already had one.
He already had one. The sequence of events, unimportant, as Meteos is the one wearing it. Ryu now trying to defend mid, but it's 4 members of Cloud9 rotating down to the last outer turret.
Careful, gets his spell shield knocked off by Jensen's Q. Sneaky lane shots in. Only one QSS on the side of C9. It belongs to Jensen.
And we do have a rotating Licorice over here. He's pushed the bottom wave, and then was even threatening 5 members of Cloud9 around mid, but more secure play with takes a neutral objective. You have Ballista rented, basically secures that you'll get the last hit on any of those neutrals by stacking up the spears. And it is kind of in dangerous territory for 100 Thieves to contest.
Civilization.
Cloud9 can easily push both sides to get themselves into a good spot, and then kind of collapse onto that objective. You can see they've littered 4 control wards in this top side by the Rift Herald, so they can kind of take that objective at their leisure.
Following me?
Use it to crack the last line.
Fast and low.
Also got blue up. So the top blue side of the map here for Cloud9 as Smoothie also takes a recall. Could be the same as his partner. Looks like a lot of gold actually to see to go and spend. Capture pressure too far. They already see how low this outer turret is, and actually do find enough time here with that Callisto, like you mentioned, to take down the Rift Herald as well. So good passage of play overall from C9. To take down the Rift Herald. Now go and spend their gold and try and push forward again.
They know so little of the world they traverse.
4,000 gold.
Yep, next choice is now between the weakened mid turret as well as the Cloud Drake that is available. To really set up the Cloud Drake, they would probably want to check all their boxes in position to avoid a Zac initiation. But they should have
maybe that Clouddrake's up next as Smoothie and Afro have a whole lot of after a bite. Has both Sword Crews. I want to think I'd finish alongside Morello and the QSS, so Cloud9 still brewing around the next objective.
It is brewing. I think we should take a look at the map from 100 Thieves' vision perspective, because they actually now have been able to build up some fog of war, and that will allow a Meteos back in the position, then could go on his back, or usually go defensively on the edge of it, try and get themselves an open back.
Again, playing up towards Meteos. Quite get the flick back on the seismic shot for extra damage.
They don't care about dragons at all. Have the front card of the Rift Herald to be able to spawn on the side of the map, and with Sneaky and Smoothie, much pressure on the top side, they again can start the tempo for themselves. Side lanes pushing, Licorice is also uncontested on the bottom side, then start to collapse for this big play.
Apples of attacking all that comes from the right one as Meteos charging up. Looking for the dual lane, that's a good few to strike together, but Sneaky instantly is on his down. Goes into the stasis, Tarrakol burnt, very safe play from C9.
That is a lot of defensive capabilities burned. 2 invulnerability.
Going in though, Sven looking for it. Tara is probably the target, but they might try and find a fight flash out there from Aphromoo as Meteos is low, gets popped into pieces. Divided. Oh, a good ult there. Actually on the Sneaky, damage is good, but Sneaky gets out of the way. Jensen has to find the start. Sneaky was ignited, but Liquid is left out to dry as a result, down to Aphromoo.
Ooh, a little bit of an overstay from Cloud9 after so much was burned from them. They did take down Meteos though, so it is a 1-for-1 in the end. But a 1-for-1 is fairly good breathing room for Alive. They're happy to take that time to pick up both side waves that were set up so meticulously by Cloud9 in advance of the big play. I think 100 Thieves happy to get that little bit of a breather. Here's another look at the engagement where Thieves goes in, usually both of them back, but both of them are loading. No threat to Malzahar there, because they did use everything, but then they won't have it for a power dive. Power dive was a little bit rushed as they started onto the Shen and the Zac front line here. And this is actually just the Zac back, even though they'll eventually make a kill, but now the Malzahar is still they force him out of the fight, which allows them to collapse onto Licorice and grab their counter kill, plus leash the dragon.
Yeah.
Cloud9.
Someday I was like, if no one's going to take this, I want it. But it looks like that unfortunately will be stopped. Licorice missing Challenger Crab, who definitely juked out of the way of the Camille hookshot. And Rift Herald is hanging out in the bottom lane. Nowhere else good to really park it.
Yeah, Licorice and his buddy here going to be marching right down that bottom side. They actually don't stop for Clouddrake, and they want to go over to the Baron. Time this with the Rift Herald extra pressure that they're going to get from this. And this is only 21 minutes into the game, but this is a Taric team. And he'll be trying to spam the heals on the rest of the squad if he doesn't get picked off.
Also, maybe just trying to find a fight here. Sven's ult is up and ready to go.
Just looking at a juicy, grouped up squad of Cloud9, but no rest of the members are here for 100 Thieves as Rio was trying to clear out the minions.
Red buff awarded to Cloud9. No smite from Sven will delay a potential Baron play, but Jensen's into the pit. There's a ward right in the back, well placed by 100 Thieves. Ascena, I think, just trying to bait their opponents into something here, but 100 Thieves are doing their research before face checking as C9 continue to pound on pressure.
And again, remember the 2-item power spikes here, they're starting to come through. In addition, QSSs for Cloud9 on both carries now. Jensen in addition to Sneaky. And looks like Licorice is fairly close to trying to get his Tiamat completed. I mean, the upgraded Tiamat for himself so he can then lifesteal off the waves with that extra AoE lifesteal. In addition to his very high 1v1 prowess.
Yes, I think definitely focused on the 1v1 here, although frozen Malapop fade from Someday could cause problems. Not enough though, dive in the mid lane. In onto Meteos, he's gonna get flicked back. Zac no passive, Sneaky with a kill. Nice turnaround there from Cloud9.
All right, let's see if they can actually use the power play, because We have a recall right now from Licorice, and though he does have teleport, that will let up on the sideways. And Someday also has teleport, so they could answer.
Jungler's dead. Stop Baron seems to be the call here. TP in from Licorice. C9 committing resources to try and get this objective.
It is a Kalista, so they could try and burn it down, but it's at 3,000.
Oh, Taric ultimately going to just try and take it down before anything else happens. Ryu gets suppressed.
Oh.
Multiple targets, Svenskeren out. Licorice dumps it onto Ryu, and that's going to take him down. The ulti follows. The Baron goes to Cloud9. Another death there landing onto Afro, and Someday tries to get a kill, but he cannot find it.
What an insane fight there from Cloud9. They take down the Baron. Smoothie flashes in with his invulnerability, so they get the Taric invulnerability on Malzahar damage from the ultimate, and then Licorice goes offensive to grab the kill there. So in addition to the huge Baron pickup, they also grab the kills.
A very fabulous Baron here for C9, but watch how this one started. Meteos trying to find a pick onto Jensen.
Right, this was how it all started. 100 Thieves taking an opportunity here that they saw for themselves, but again, they don't have complete vision. They don't even have that great of vision, right? Because they've been on the back foot. But that's why it's a 4v5 here, and why 100 Thieves want to force this fight. Because they know that if Baron gets low enough, it'll get rented. Smoothie there, flashed over, so that his part of the Taric ultimate would land on Svenskeren. It saves his life from the Malzahar damage. Meanwhile, Licorice goes in, 1v3 almost there, to pick up the kill, flashes away at the end, and the heals from Smoothie kept him upright as well. Cloud9 get out without a casualty and a couple of objectives on their backs.
And finally, the Cloud Trick goes down. 24.5 minutes in. Cloud9 collect their mascot, and C9 looking to push down this bot side with Baron up for two more minutes. But a very well-coordinated set of plays there with some creative Taric and Kalista usage. We'll see what damage they can get done. Zero turret still for 100 Thieves, so running out of room to play with. And that's trouble in under that turret. Cody's son forced to burn the stasis. And flashes out. Yeah, that's safety just enough there for Cody. He gets out from over everything. Jensen's like, yep, that doesn't work, and Ryu's now caught. Wall was up for a little while longer. Stun is massive, landing onto 2 Meteors. Tries to dive back in, but he ulti's out to safety. Can't abduct anyone back into the team at Cloud9. Unrelenting in their pressure.
Great to see a team actually drafting for mid-game and playing it really well. Cloud9 playing off their power spikes, Baron buff inside of the base, an inhibitor at 25 minutes right now. We are ahead of schedule, Pastry.
Certainly so, C9. Just increasing the tempo with each and every play. Still a minute left with Baron buff here, so another play can be made, but go back, spend their gold, and look to charge down maybe another turret.
Ravenous Hydra completed for Licorice. Trinity Force completed. He has the little bit of defenses from his Ninja Chabi and a No Magic Mantle. Cloud9 just across the board feeling extremely confident about the execution now.
Certainly so. Again, the push still comes. Looks like Jensen's even working on a death cap to give you an idea of how far ahead they're snowballing this game. Oh, found one. Oh, Meteos! Oh, no, he got trapped in the arena. Meteos going to get knocked back down, cell divided. And Ryu going to try and find something with the 4 little blobs going down, sneaking on a killing spree as he takes down Meteos.
Yep, can't get away from Camille. Ultimate locks you inside, and they're able to get the pick on such a key member. Taking down the Zac passive is a big cooldown and takes away almost all of the threat of the counter engage from 100 Thieves. Now, if it was to happen, it would have to be a huge play from Someday, getting a large stun. And even then, there's so many answers from Cloud9 that they are unafraid. They're just shoving up straight through top lane, mid lane already prepped as well, and they have full control of the map.
Yep, they just take a turret, the Baron wears off, and they'll happily take those objectives. As again, Super Minions still moving in. They've still got Jensen's ulti as well, if they want to use Weave as well as a sieging tool. Haven't seen that one in a little while. Looks like mid lane, tier 2 is the first order of business. And Someday, you're into the turret, about to go mini. Very tired little Gnar. Licorice so no ulti to lock him back up. Meteos finds one hand on his spin, but nothing to whack him against. And that turret's going to fall down.
And with that pick off, Cloud9 have taken away the other thing they had to worry about, the flash from Gnar. They're just attacking the tanks, picking them off, and removing the threat.
I mean, this far ahead, just hit the closest target at this stage. 10,000 gold ahead for C9. They get themselves yet another turret. 7 turrets to 0. 100 Thieves have a lot of ground to make back up, as their blue buff also going to get stolen. Jensen credited that one.
Yeah, huge.
You know what I could
lead
use?
here for Cloud9. They control most of the territory of the entire map. You can see 100 Thieves trying to clear out some of the defensive wards here. Meteos diligently clearing wards, getting some vision back, but there are just too many. There's too much ground to cover for them to actually secure this.
But I
and
won't
they
quit.
are walking in Cloud9's sights.
And I think really at this point, Cloud9 are going to have to start tripping up towards the finish line. Things to really go wrong. Baron not up for a number of minutes, so no real play to make there. It is only one inhib, so certainly an obvious defendable spot, but with the way C9 have been coordinating and pushing through this mid-game, 100 Thieves going to have to come up with something quite miraculous.
Yeah, and there's just almost too many answers because of the pace of the game here for Cloud9 and the gold lead. They have been able to create their answers for 100 Thieves questions before 100 Thieves can even ask the question. There are 3 QSSs now. Licorice is already done with his. He's level 16 on Ballista. Can jump right in and assassinate any target that he finds. And they have all the waves pushing as well as the rest of the vision moving in once again. And almost no contact.
Out of 100 Thieves jungle. Baron up in a minute 15. C9 tries to apply as much pressure as they can to this top lane. And Sunday is still tied up for a little while longer.
None are worthy of my
back.
4 QSSs, even Smoothie has
hiding in, hiding in a sword, because that's how that works.
Yeah.
Mercurial comes out, of course, there. Smoothie has one just in case. Has hit the eject button and pop across the gradient.
I care about these mortals.
Slowly but surely, these turrets are going to take more and more damage. There won't even be time, really, for this next Ocean Drake to spawn before Baron is back in on the table. Licorice threatening in the side lane can 1v1 just about anyone at this stage of the game. So, like you said, little
One
too
can
many
only
answers,
hold all
not
this
enough
power
questions
for so
100
long.
Thieves. C9 just going to back off the last few waves of pressure, get their vision, and start Baron number 2.
Yeah, at this point, they just don't have any damage for 100 Thieves side. Even if they got a really good kick, Cloud9 would have to split themselves up
They know
and
so
allow
little of the world they
themselves
traverse.
to be burned down fairly slowly because there's not much DPS
Time dwindles.
for 100 Thieves.
Cloud9 have done all of their homework. Actually baiting in for a fight. I mean, 100 Thieves have to check, they've got no vision here. Maybe an Ezreal ult's a good way to start it off. But C9 looking for a fight.
Get some fog of war here from 100 Thieves side because these are the tense moments of the game, right? People have lived through these late games where they're so far behind. Baron is up. It's incredibly threatening here for anyone to even get close. There we go, some blue trinkets used.
Sneaky looking for someone, but can't find it. Still very dark over here around the Baron buff. Gonna please out the water. He's on the ward on the other side, but Cody is gonna get aggressed on Spencer. Yep, he's cut off. We can go for it here. Cody forced to flush and shift away. Block back in there for Afro, who's gonna get stunned by the permafrost. Afro locked down by Licorice, and that's gonna be a kill. 5v4 once again.
All right, they can just retreat back to all the vision control here. Pull the same thing again, or just burn down the Baron. Looks like they want to get Meteos off the
Oh,
table
he's
first.
caught. Meteos again locked in by Licorice. Can't get out. Does die to Jensen. Not even Let's Bounce will save you there.
Well, now, see, they have all the answers before the question's even asked. You're like, oh, can they Baron steal? Nope, he's already dead. And now they start Baron.
Well, their in-hit came back up, so that's about the only shred of good news here at the moment. But Baron number 2 will go over to Cloud9 as they look to put the final stamp on this game.
Yeah, and what a stance it is. Cloud9 kind of emphatic here in this perceived victory over 100 Thieves. So we look at the opening week of the LCS. A lot of people with a lot of questions. And
Trust no
100 Thieves with a very good start for themselves. Cloud9 did have an early stumble, but really strong here. Going up once again. Let's take another look at how it happened. Zika just started out auto-attacking Cody's done after he forward without vision on Ezreal. And then from there, it really does kind of snowball as far as the position. As soon as 100 Thieves are feeling reversed, their defensive starts to come out, trying to protect Cody's son, get him to retreat. So Baron goes forward, they get the lockup.
They have forgotten
and then
the fight.
Meteos is trying to look for a steal. Licorice takes advantage.
Yep, just dies to the damage. Still in Camille's ultimate. As again, Baron up 2.5 minutes, more than enough sieging time. Even is going in the top side, bot inhibitor is open and already taking. I want to wander down there. But they'll try and take down some of those few remaining turrets off of the rift for 100 Thieves. See how the defense looks, but it's going to be tough.
Yeah, I mean, there's even an exposed inhibitor on bottom side. So Cloud9 splitting all the way out to a 1-3-1 with the Baron. Talia can collapse easily. Licorice on Camille has her teleport. And they can Baron speed up the minions and get everything in place before they pull the trigger.
Not too much inhibition here. And the siege begins. Licorice forces the Baron begins up. Sunday about to go mega. It's a little bit of damage. Trickles onto that mid turret. Smoothie getting low though. And a faithful visions there from Ryu.
Yep, a lot of damage dealt out. And 100 Thieves buy themselves a little bit of time. Smoothie trying to heal himself back up though.
Too hard for the Tarek. I don't quite. Doesn't have a tier, so can't go full on bravado with Tarek.
He also doesn't have anything to auto attack right now. To try and get the cooldowns reduced. Sven though, again targeting the front line here is Meteos getting a little bit of a bump. Chest bump going between frontliners.
He's got things going as well, but he's doing a nice job of not quite all together, but Jensen is going to look for the cutoff play. Cody gets knocked back through. 2v5 on the wrong side of the wall. Afro with the Spirit Referee trying to save the turret, I think.
Yeah, Meteos actually threatening there with the Elastic Swing side. Makes Cloud9 back off. And even with the exposed inhibitor on bottom side, good defense from 100 Thieves here. Clearing out those minion waves, Cloud9 to make that final step inside the 100 Thieves base.
Might be upgraded to excellent if 100 Thieves can hold this position for the next 40 seconds. Smoothie still a little low, but drifting out of one to try and see if the top. So this is the difference. They're going to try and push everyone else to the exposure and have a Licorice be the one split pushing solely.
This is the last 25 seconds left of the Baron buff. Cloud9 now, finally, they go for the exposed inhib. Just muscling their way in, and they will take it.
Looks like 100 Thieves going to try and force something, but they're going to start the fight off first. Suppression down. To the only member without a QSS when Scarin goes down, but Sunday's transforms into Mega Knight and will live through the onslaught. C9 playing 4v5, but they
pretty much all of them just building standard tank items versus Malzahar's, but being left as the only real vulnerable target for a Malzahar ultimate because of the lack of QSS. You either need to have a QSS or a Gargoyle Stoneplate at the very least to get the damage during it on. And right there, you get to see the shredding abilities, and 100 Thieves, even though they lost their inhibitor, they kind of limited their losses in how much of an advantage Cloud9 had. To only lose one inhibitor and be able to come away with that kind of counter kill on the Spell Scarin before Tarek ultimate is able to land down is quite good news for them.
Not quite enough there on the timing. And again, Sunday with a timely transform to get out. C9 not able to push their lead too much further, which is great news for 100 Thieves.
It's only great news in the context of the overall game.
Yeah, the overall game is still looking great.
Because the overall game here is still very much Cloud9-sided. Right back out. Now they've got the bottom side. Licorice is actually escorting right down the lane. And he will be able to join up with the rest of his team after he pushes those to the doorstep.
There's actually keep on coming as well. Elder Dragon up in under a minute 30. As 100 still trying to defend it. One small still sitting up more than 10,000 gold ahead. They try and sneak these waves someday, answering that right now. It's the big Dragula. Sejuani. 9 bucks his carry, so hasn't learned the QSS lesson just yet. Maybe thinks he doesn't need it as another wall from Jensen's going to try and cut them off.
Yeah, it doesn't do a lot. If that can get over it.
Here's a big tower dive. Again, Scarin tied up. The Tarek ulti late there. So Scarin does go down to Cody, but they're going to try and take the turret. They will barely not break it. C9 needed one more breath of fresh air to get it down with 100 Thieves defend again.
I feel like Cloud9 could coordinate those better with earlier activations right when Sven goes in, have it calling down, because that is literally the only way 100 Thieves can defend this, is get that kill before the ultimate comes down, and they do it for a second time. We've seen already, if you give these defending teams enough one-off kills and enough one-off defenses, and you let them farm up until late game, and then it becomes much more even round.
I mean, even, the simpler level of that is just actually the Tarek only hit the turret.
Yeah,
it's not that, yeah, it's not
do it early, all go in at the same time, and
don't even need Talia or Sejuani ult potentially, but 100 Thieves again exploiting some of those mistakes, doing a really nice job
He could
keeping
one-shot
the
that.
game.
Yeah, even without the taking off the
Not his
armor.
armor. He's out of there. He's very out of there. He's worried. He's collapsing. Liquid flash early.
There will be the Elder Dragon. So it's giving away for the Elder Dragon as the rest of the team goes there. I mean, you could definitely argue that, with the power they have, they could have done the Elder Dragon anyway. But we'll say, since he was up there, and the defenses have been happening on 100 Thieves, that now, with the extra burn, is this going to be enough for Cloud9, taking the Baron afterwards, to actually push inside the base? Or will 100 Thieves try and mount one of these fights into an Elder Dragon team that has vision control? I would suspect not, and they would take their chances inside the base, but it looks like they're coming out of the base. Maybe a shot at it.
This doesn't feel like the 500 Thieves are all 5 strong here. For a steal. They're going to ult him. Does go down. Nice red there. Seeing that play well. Cody barely misses the pickoff by the Seismic Shot. Gets correctly towards his red buff. And C9 back with the pressure. Double big buffs. As Meteor trying to get out of there. Carries one in, but now going to get locked down by the Camille. Liquid just ults him. They're going to try and take down the tank. Meteors! Chunk down so fast, popped into pieces once more. That's going to be an easy kill for C9. 5v4 for 50 seconds, Kobe.
Yeah, that's going to be it. They have Bear, they have Elder Dragon, they got the pick onto the front line, and now Cloud9 marching into the base.
Well, going to see if they can do a little bit better this time. Liquid sieging the top side. C9 patiently trying to crack all 3 inhibitor turrets. Licorice, just a little piece of punch in the fresh air.
They need
a stiff breeze. All right, the Minion's going to do it instead. They're the win. That knocked down that inhibitor turret.
We got to go back to their Baron buff. The Minion waves around mid lane, and out and
again, just pop the ulti early this time. Spin straight in, taunted by Afro, but the turrets are going to fall. Inhib respawns, but I'm not sure that's going to be it as Ryu does get in a great double knocker back smoothly after the Fates call, and it's a rampage in the base of 100 Thieves. They'll move back. They're going to clear out inhibitor first before they can do the formalities and take down the next. Although, should have enough time. We'll have to see. He's got back in the next. C9 plays a little more patiently. They're going to take down Ryu. Way with 40 seconds on Ryu.
Yeah, they have plenty of time for Baron buff and Elder Dragon as well. Sunday's trying to make a play.
Licorice starts into the Cody Sun, going to get the 1v1. The Licorice popping off as he takes down the Ezreal. One Nexus turret down. Someday scoops Jensen into the fountain, lays it for a very stylish kill. But that's not going to be enough to hold this on. C9 going to ruin the potential undefeated record and tie it up 3-1 as they close out week 2.
Definitely a well-crafted and well-executed early game and mid-game there from the Cloud9 squad. Early roam from the Garen up the top side, getting Licorice going, and the repeated global use to keep the snowball. Meanwhile, Sneaky and Smoothie on that Kalista Terra combo, they're the ones slowly doing this hard work, right? They're the ones that aren't on screen. They don't get everybody shouting their names, but they take the bottom turret, rotate up top side, take the top turret, they constantly have this big threat, and eventually Cloud9 finish it out.
And they just continue to do it, which is probably the most impressive thing to me, given how defensive-oriented the bottom lane has been. I mean, they're still playing Relic Shield, Overheal, all of the same things, the physical work that make these wins quite stagnant, and somehow they are finding consistent wins.
Impressive performances there from C9, and they're very happy to pick up this win. Week number 2 found out there.
Questions aimed, I think, rightfully at the rookie of Cloud9, but you need to answer questions. Greg, his help is very good looking as Jensen and really took over the jungle there. But no, Licorice is a player that can carry when he gets the resources.
I think it was, definitely very promising for Cloud9. Again, there was so much on the option. Oh, we lost Impact. So that is a big blow. This was a huge part of the team last year. And Licorice comes from Challengers and have a lot of stuff to show, right? He's always been in Challenger, so there's not a lot of translation that you can count on there, but really good performances from him on the biggest stage. And one of the best top laners that has played the game in Luke and Someday.
I mean, I think it's carry impressive. Like, you might be one to come into the play playing well and support your team that way, but Licorice is the guy picking the good matchups, getting the help, and then succeeding on champions like Camille, like Gangplank. He loves Bjorn. I assume that one is popping up at some point soon, given how many unique champions he's played as well. There is a lot to love here about this rookie. Been a very impressive start, and the Org has clearly fostered a good environment.
Yeah, and they clearly have confidence to continue to draft, offensive things like this and play to this style. It's fun to see a team trying to get a more early game oriented game plan going and executing on it, trying to get these snowballing objectives off of the turrets, and that type of control that you see is actually not happening that much in the meta currently, like around the world.
We're fine. Looking good. Lots more on that victory. Let's set it down to Ovalie May and the Cloud9 mid laner.
Thanks, guys. I'm here with Jensen. Congratulations on your win against the teams, knocking them out. They're no longer undefeated. I wanted to ask you a little bit about the mid meta and how you played today. Usually we've seen a lot of Azir, we've seen Malzahar, we've seen Ryze, but you brought out Taliyah for the first game. What do you think of the mid meta so far, and how does it fit with your playstyle?
I think right now there's like 4 strong champions like Zoe, Ryze, Azir, Malzahar. So when they are up, usually you'll just see people rotate between them. But if a lot of them are banned, then like for example, I can play the Taliyah blind pick here, for example, because it does well into Malzahar with the other strong picks on. So right now I feel like the meta is a little stale. Like it's kind of just the same picks. But if people choose to like ban the stronger ones out, then I think the meta opens up a bit more for mid lane.
And I also wanted to ask you a little bit about your rookie top laner, Licorice. We talked to him a little bit last week. He's been playing phenomenally. He's already been played against Someday. He's played against Huni, all of these big name top laners, and he's had a pretty diverse champion pull up in top so far too. What do you think of his performance, and where do you think he'll be in a few weeks with a little bit of time to grow?
I think his performance so far has been pretty good. I remember first time I was playing LCS, I was very nervous, and it didn't seem like he was playing under like any sort of pressure. And I think he's been playing pretty good so far. So I'm excited to see how he's going to perform in the future.
Where do you think he'll be? Do you think he'll top Huni, or?
I mean, yeah, of course.
Well, thank you so much for this interview and congratulations on the win. And for more on this game, let's hear from our analyst at the desk.
Thank you very much, Ovalie. Congratulations to the Cloud9 League of Legends squad as they pick up another win here on the weekend, move to 3-1. But we need to throw that organization an additional congratulations, as during that game, their CSGO team was the first North American team to win a CSGO major in double overtime of a best-of-3.
Don't give up, League of Legends fans. It can happen for us too. We can win a world here, dude.
Franchising. We've got all the players in here.
This is it. Let's build the hype right now for November. All right. Okay. But as we return to this game, the victory crafted by Cloud9. I want to look at champions section hardcore. The question there asked by Ovalie about that mid-lane meta, but you can tell based on Jensen's answer and history of the coach, this is a very good spot.
I think they absolutely dominated again here. They've won a lot of their games through their draft phase. And here you have 2 winning side lanes with mid laner who wants to roam those side lanes. They didn't end up going bottom quite as much, but they had that option. And then once you get into mid-game team fighting, with a lead with this comp, it's very dive heavy. Taric enables a lot of people to go in, and it synergizes so well in itself, in the meta, and against the opponent.
It's a little bit of a god comp we were talking about beforehand. Camille is the most banned champion in the LPL. Wani is the highest pick banned champion in the LPK. Taric is the most picked support in the A. Ballista is the highest priority to carry. And how did they get all these champions, right? When you then consider the fact that all the matchups are good, it fits the players, it fits the comp. This is, and I know I think it's one of the best drafts we've seen all day.
Okay.
As far as the team composition, the way everything is.
All right, but you can draft the best comp in the world. You still have to play for that comp. You can play to those conditions set out by having those strong side lanes and playing through them with mid laner. It's exactly what Cloud9 did.
Yeah. I think that's what's impressive too, because so much of that pressure is put on to Licorice when they keep giving him these counter mashups that you actually need to, one, win them and play around them. So you see Jensen and him going up there early on, getting the first dive off. Licorice plays this well to survive, drops third aggro with the ultimate. Here, continues absorbing pressure. And to be fair to 100 Thieves, they understood that this was going to happen, and they were usually close by for him, but it was just really hard to win these fights.
Yeah, and then there's the extra element of the fact that there's a double scope of bottom lane, so they always have the threat of sending more people up there with teleport support, which makes it more difficult to proactive play.
And look, I know we've talked about the C9 top laner in Licorice a lot, but as the focus continually goes up there over the course of their 4 games, I've got to give a nod to this rookie who's played 4 unique champions in 4 games on this stage, played against some very tough opponents, and is sitting on a 3-1 record.
I think this is the weekend that really kind of validates Licorice in a lot of people's minds. Up against Uni, up against Someday, still playing the carry focus style. He is getting counterpicked, which is giving him that kind of leg up. But they're showing that that's still a good idea. It's not like, oh, we're doing a counterpick so we can live. It's like, no, and then we're going to go up there, and we're going to gank form, and we're going to snowball off our top laner. And that's very impressive to see. And it's nice that Cloud9 as a team is backing them up so well.
I want to take a moment, though, to now, again, return to kind of the holistic picture of the North American LCS. We only have one undefeated team remaining after the result of this game, and that team is EchoFox. But both of these squads here sitting at 3-1, and again, it's a very solid scoreline that I'm sure both of these orgs are happy with.
Yeah, I think they're both going to be pretty happy about this one, specifically just with the new players they've had to integrate. The fact that one of the teams only had 13 or 16 days before the season worked. 75% winner after 2 years straight.
42 assists across the team for Cloud9. That number speaks volumes to me as you compare that to the 16 on the flip side for the losing team. Kind of, again, talks about, or rather supports this idea that C9 as a team are going places to look for those skirmishes and pick up those skills.
And it's also nice for Reaper a little bit because it wasn't like a completely dominating victory with how far ahead they were. There were a couple failed dives, they went a little too far ahead of the team, or the was a little late. There's still things to improve on, so it's like that kind of ideal win as a coach where you feel good about it, but you can still nitpick them a little bit.
I mean, so 100 Thieves, they suffered their first loss here. I mean, what's our thought there? I'm not saying that this team deteriorates by any means. Strong players, lots of veteran status, so the mentality, I have to imagine, will remain strong. You've got Prawley leading the charge, but they did just get their first punch in the face. How do you react?
Every single one of those players has gone before. I think they're going to be totally fine with it. And I think they were a little bit out in this one. They're 100%.
All right, there you have it. After the break, we got 2 more teams looking to end the weekend on a win. Optic versus FlyQuest. Don't go anywhere.
Brain check. You have a brain today?
Yeah. Today I
right. You have a finger today? Yes. You are not missing the WQ, right? You have a brain today?
Comes it over on a Sunday, level 6, gonna get himself trapped in a real wrong place. First blood, over to spend the mouth on last of the Licorice, destroys the ball for a little while longer. Flashes out, Licorice barely able to get the gets the Sonya down, stays as good as Jensen. Will collect a kill on the other side.
Hitting mouse. Yeah.
Mouse stun.
Finish now, first. Nice. Mouse hard set, we can chase him.
But a knockdown that's going to be in as Ryu just getting a great double knockdown back smoothly onto the face call, and it's a rampage in the base of D9. Ruin the potential undefeated record and tie it up 3-1 as they close out week 2.
Welcome to Remember This, presented by State Farm. Back at PAX 2014, the world of League of Legends was about to change. We're taking a look back at Wild Turtle's excellent quadra kill from PAX 2014.
Into this fight and are going for broke. Han goes in, tries to get his ultimate down. Last breath has already been used. Coming up with focus. Wow, Turtle! Turtle on the triple, Turtle on the quadra, Medios on the outside. A second quadra in the playoffs for Turtle.
Narrowly averted. Power changes everyone.
for the North American LCS, where we're rolling into our next match as Optic Gaming face FlyQuest. Kobe, it's been a fun first 2 games. It's gone a little long here on the patch, but I'm excited to round out this one with you.
Yep, and it's going to definitely be exciting here because Optic, even though they have some experience, they have definitely been driving a lot.
Well, the top blue side against Optic. In the top lane, Zig. In the jungle, Acadian. Mid laner, Power Revel. Bot Arrow, support Lamination, and their coach, Zabuteam.
And facing them on the red side, it is FlyQuest. Up top is Flame in the jungle. And in mid lane, Keen. Bottom lane, Wild Turtle. Support, Stunts, and Rapid Star on stage.
I've made clear. Make the open.
Yeah, I mean, we just talked about it. They have started 0-3. They had some very tough opponents, and a lot of the losses did come from mistakes which can sometimes be the most mentally taxing type of mistakes because you get to this late game, it's very tense. You feel like the game is within your grasp, and every moment you come away with a negative outcome from that so often can start to take a toll on the mentality. But it doesn't look like it. Look at the smiles on their faces. Looks like they're holding strong.
Certainly are, and the contrast, of course, is to the more happy-go-lucky FlyQuest, the new-ish squad who have 2 back-to-back come-from-behind wins, which is much better for your mental state.
Turtle's mental state is always happy. Have you seen his face? Permanent smile. People were really wondering with this team, what is the late game leadership going to look like? What's the direction for FlyQuest? What's their identity? Are they going to try and go for? And it actually has been a lot of comebacks for them so far. I mean, they had some more late game team fights, just like Optic had those games, but a lot of them have been that positively. They've had Onda on stack quite a lot, initiating for them, come up with some big crowd control play, and they're definitely happy about things.
And Oriana right there, coming away from the power of Storm. Of course, we'll stick to what he likes, whether you like it or not.
The scroll must be destroyed.
Power Revo, we know what he likes. The Massive 2's Oriana. Not going to be the case here, so maybe he'll just have to delve into the rest of the trio of mid laners and everything else do. It's not going to be a Zir though. Meanwhile, Kog'Maw, the here, carry at the moment, as we said, skills so insanely well off the Rage Blade. Pretty much from man. That's good though. Wild Turtle definitely. But Ezreal will be the one locked in. Arrow has a very impressive Ezreal game. This guy's individual performance has definitely been up to par. Last year, that well-rounded, fighting face, definitely has been. So good early this year. Popularity.
And that's not actually for FlyQuest. We'll see what they want to take as their next pick. It is Varus actually for Turtle, so certainly taking an aggressive stance here in the 2v2.
Yeah, I definitely have seen a lot of Varus into the Ezreal as far as the wave control and the early lane control, trying to get there. Also a Rageblade user, one of the better ones, aside from Kog'Maw, who is the premier. But we've seen it strong early game into a strong mid game. Meanwhile, there's been a lot of pick oriented combos with Lemonation whenever he's in a bottom lane, Morgana and the likes there. So very curious to see how Optic would round out this bottom lane, because they can play for lane, even with the Ezreal, who we often talk about, can be left alone. They've also been really poke heavy before, so a couple of different looks, and they don't give away too much. Meanwhile, you talked about Power Beeble.
Does what he likes,
his
Kobe.
favorites.
Yeah, there's Syndra, actually Tom Kench also joining in, so very defensive-minded bot lane there, but protecting Arrow, who has been such a good-looking carry, despite the record Optic currently shows, is a nice pick here, and I think one of the best melee supports currently in the metagame.
Yeah, and everyone always thinks the defensive, eating someone out of a stun or something like that, which is, Devour is probably the most infuriating part of the kit. However,
in combination with Ezreal, there are a lot of offensive capabilities with Tahm Kench's ultimate. Post level 6, Lemonation can actually, you know, create some very big map movements. It's not global, but it's kind of semi-global, we'll call it, as far as you know, a third of the map you can try and traverse there and come up with some big tempo plays, basically, with Tahm Kench to try and turn the tides.
Well, 2 games and 2 Taliyah games, interestingly, as Kane counterpicks the Syndra with Taliyah. Usually that's the other way around, kind of cast back to the metagame of last year, but we'll continue on as the bans continue. Rengar banned by FlyQuest, keeping Acadian off his aggressive jungler, and Optic taking away Zac, so giving Anda off to tanks.
Yeah, I mean, those two seem pretty clearly associated with the players. I don't know if Optic would actually continue with Rengar picks, though, because Acadian was talking about, you know, some of the difficulties now with everybody running so many tanks and the later game stages where Rengars have difficulty getting in. I do, however, really like the targeted Anda ban here with the Zac. You know, he's gone back to the champion, and it has been a very big playmaker for the team. So excited to see what he gets pushed down to, actually, as far as the tier list.
Yeah, on band away, there's Sejuani also joining in as another tank jungler. And what if FlyQuest want as their first pick here in Phase 2? It's probably Jarvan.
Ban 2 tanks. They're going to pick another one who can build pretty much full tank here. Options for Jarvan. And Jarvan also just happens to synergize very well with Gnar. You can create more terrain with either Jarvan or Taliyah for him to Gnar people into. So basically there'll be walls all over the place for him to land stuns into. Even if they don't fight in the jungle or anything, FlyQuest can create their own jungle.
Well, we'll see how that one works out. I mean, I would love to see a long-range Taliyah wall into an Gnar ultimate, but I haven't seen that one too often, as looks like Maokai thrown all the way back here, and there's Kha'Zix to round it out for Acadian. I think we've seen Maokai now relatively recently, but certainly not what a lot of the top laners have been playing.
I'm actually a very huge fan of Maokai Kha'Zix combos. As a jungler, you know, if you're going with one of these DPS junglers who has a lot of early threat, any laner that can lane, you know, fairly well like Maokai and has the amount of crowd control to just set up a gank for you and hold them in place, Kha'Zix can actually bring the damage himself and look for some kills there. You know, combo on Gnar in the mini form, choose the engages. Maokai's very easy to point and click, so that's a possibility for them. They as well can use the Lemonation Tahm Kench to try and bring that Kha'Zix in for some, you know, catching isolated people off guard and really turning the numbers and using that map and positioning in their favor.
There's actually last pick Lulu for FlyQuest with really only on banned as the support we've seen. Kind of interesting to see Stunt go to a range support. Lulu, I think stock's rising a little bit on the champion, but usually don't see too many departures from the melee supports.
Yeah, I really like her into Kha'Zix because one of the most frustrating things is getting polymorphed as soon as you jump in. You can't reactivate your ult to go invisible again. Usually any team will be able to burst you down because you're very squishy if she can get that off onto you. So Lulu will not only be looking for her ultimates to get knockups to counter engagements, but also polymorphing one of those melee assassins is one of the best feelings for the Lulu player, at least.
And one of the worst feelings for the Kha'Zix player. Well, that's for sure. Well, we'll see how this one shakes out. Game 3, Optic looking for their first win. FlyQuest, maybe a surprising 2-1 for a lot of people as Optic fans are hype. Moving into this one again, come so close, but unfortunately, especially in the best of one world, once more, close is not enough. Yeah, push you up into the standings. So could be here against FlyQuest, or FlyQuest can continue, I would say, an underrated run of form here and finish their weekend 3-1 right towards the top of the standing.
You can be close in a 60-minute game, Pastry, but in the end, it doesn't even matter if you don't kill the Nexus. All right, fanning out. Defensive line of scrimmage, basically. We see this pretty often. Junglers actually spot each other, so a little bit of a dance move there. See if they get any sort of, you know, deeper wards to try and find the starts and kind of elaborate on their early jungle paths.
Zig is doing a poor job of hiding briefly. Was out of the brush, but I don't think he got spotted just yet. Once he gets, might get some saplings down if he wants to investigate. Anda finds Acadian though. Flags straight on top of the head. That has to be quite painful.
I mean, it does
It does damage.
Decent amount of damage for level 1 ability there. People underestimate. They always think about when the flag goes down, you could get the extra attack speed boosts, but you know it's got that flat 60 magic damage. Nothing to scoff at early game. It's not like Jarvan builds the AP or anything, but
This could be the game, Kobe. Probably not. It's probably not the game.
set the stage, Pastry, for the flag dropping, AP building Lichbane Jarvan.
Well, you've got me excited now, but we'll see how it develops. Leash here on the bot side, or Optic. Nice and easy there with Ezreal and Tahm Kench. Standard smiteless stuff here is Arcadian Dings 2, and looks like Anda has similar treatment by his bot lane. Arcadian are going to stop by the Raptors, and Anda are going to stop by his small camp on the same side. So, farm time ahoy, at least for these first few minutes.
Ahoy. Both junglers, double camps on the bottom side, and kind of what we were alluding to in Champion Select, they both have the top lane matchup in mind. Point and click from Maokai could spell bad things for Gnar, but if left alone, you know, from Enda's perspective on the Jarvan, he kind of wants to allow Gnar some alone time up there to handle himself. As long as the extra damage from the Kha'Zix is not introduced into this little top lane habitat, then they'll naturally have the Gnar taking away some control.
Yep, Anda actually top side right now. Katie went back down to Krug and Flame. Good little chunk there from the wallop in onto Zig. Got a quick check through the runes. Total's the only one really doing something a little out there. We've seen a lot more unsealed spellbook in bot lane, but we'll hold that thought as Anda not entertaining a dive just yet.
Yeah.
Instead, we'll take the Gromp and get some vision down.
Again, I see this much more of jungler screening, right? He wants to make sure that Acadian's not getting in there for one of those combos. So taking the time to counter jungle, you know, maybe threatening a bit here for the Maokai as it gets pushed under his turret, but it's not the type of play you want to do to dive a Maokai early, unless the Gnar was getting a lot of chip damage early and, you know, the Maokai was overextending and getting hit with boomerangs. Whoops, the daisy.
Not quite there on the ward, unfortunately, for Arcadian, although it's much further up near the Gromp camp. I kind of like that placement, actually, from Anda. Hiding away from that common ward spot as the control ward does miss.
Yep, misses the bush and misses the ward. Not the biggest
The ill-fated
deals.
double miss on the whole control ward.
Zoning going on here down in the bottom side, though. It's Elimination. Bodies out the FlyQuest duo lane. Starts to zone them. Decent amount of CS lead there. Kind of exacerbating the issue, though. A lot of them should be able to get picked up. They didn't lose too many of them yet. They're still marching towards the turret.
Going out. Like a dematerializer from Zig. Did spot that one. He wanted to make sure he can clear the waves out relatively well. Arcadian looking to try and steal back the Gromp he lost to Anda, but Anda with a smite. Elimination with the roam up, but Tongue, oh, gonna eat it, hand it over. Very slick stuff. As Arcadian will end up with that Gromp back and even that camp.
Yeah, he knows his way around the Gromp, and not gonna let Arcadian get that experience, or not gonna wait Anda get that experience. The control ward actually went down as well, just in case of some possible bottom lane plays, and now Arcadian's actually got himself into a very good position onto, and as far as mid laners being recalled here for FlyQuest, Steven was back in base. And there was an option there for Power People to move up, but didn't take it and just finished up with the CS, so no big damage traded there.
Yep, Anda kind of knew what was happening, so just flag drags back. Electrocute did proc for Arcadian, but Anda now back to clear those walls, and third one stun. Back to business here with the CS even, getting aggressive in this double range lane versus that melee support. So I think it's mostly what you'd expect in an even situation.
They start pushing back. Guardian and Targon's definitely helping out. You can see there a couple of gold bags found. Klepto immediately consumed by arrow. And on the bottom side, we're going to have another fight. There's a smite on one side and no smite for Acadian, so it's not a very fair fight.
Nope, not at all, but Anda with a nice move, stealing away the majority of that camp. He smites down the big Krug and Flame. I mean, like you said, all this information that Anda is gathering is just letting Flame be aggressive, gonna cancel that recall, delay Acadian even longer. Flame can just play up with a reckless abandon. 10 CS up already as Zig is forced back.
Ooh, he also just interrupted a Zig recall there under turrets. I believe he took one tower shot for it. Definitely worth to delay, because you lose out on Maybe another minion or two as far as the melee's there. And see if the tower shot might grab one more. These are the small, incremental little plays, though, that do start to stack up, right? When they're not big kills going on and not big vision power plays going early to set up those sorts of movements, these little lane mechanics really do go a long way in these matchups. So it is really all about controlling those minions and getting the teleport timers and advantages from these 1 versus 1 matchups, because Gnar now, level 6, Flame is actually going to be able to get off his first purchase here probably, as Acadian actually goes to answer and jumps over without even seeing the Gnar fully recall, but does get some of the small ones here. Still behind that 1 level.
Oh no, oh, it's a tragedy. And that Q went very
Who hit
high.
me?
Lashing out into the darkness.
There's a couple of $10 bills.
Well, looks like a TV backhand from Flame, has his fate completed and an extra Ruby Crystal, so looking good there. PoE playing pretty actively to the left side of the map, I think, trying to get topside and threaten a roam onto Flame, given all of the information research Under has done. Turtle also back with his TP. And Unsealed Spellbook is a fun one.
Yeah, and I mean, Power of Evil, you're talking about, he can even look to threaten Keen in his own lane now that he is post level 6. The Syndra ultimate is available. That's why Keen has picked up a very early Null Magic Mantle in this matchup. You talked in Champion Select, Pastry, about how Syndra picked into Taliyah quite often in the past, and it was for just killing her before she roamed.
Yep.
No, but trying to get that stun down, unleash the power. Keen has his eye on it, though, with his early magic resist.
Yeah, looks like Fred's coming right up, although both mid laners just farming it out for now. Quite a lot of gold built up. Keen, they're going to take a recall, should speed back to lane. PoE probably do something similar soon, although Keen calls Meliah and actually hangs out for a little while longer. Acadian, though, will keep tracking where he's going, taking that red buff. Might look back down here towards the bottom side of the map as Arrow continues to play up a little more, despite Turtle having, I guess not really a CS lead, given that this wave is coming in. But again, trying to play aggressive. Late on the Devour there for Lemon, but no problem. On the fly to quiver there for Turtle.
Yeah. I actually,
if I sound
post level
rude,
6
it's
too,
because
there
I've got a
definitely
world
is a
to save.
possibility for a bigger play from Acadian. Kha'Zix feels so good once you get that level 6 and immediately can evolve your ultimate. The options for ganking are almost unlimited, as you can walk through a brush in any lane, mid, top, or bottom. Let's take a look at this face check first.
Under there, actually wards first. Keen has a priority, so he's able
They
to
know
come
so
down.
little of the world.
Neither mid laner has recalled yet. So again, continuing to do a great job tracking Acadian, and at least this same story, Flame looking for the solo something, but doesn't quite get it. Slams into a bit of brass and maybe realizes, that's too much.
Yeah, look at that though. He is slowly wearing away at this Maokai, even with the biscuit delivery coming in.
When I found
Minion
them all,
dematerializer, you know,
I'll
all
fade
those
away.
sort of inspiration quirk methods used to help out with the laning of Maokai. Still getting bullied by this Gnar, who has got the alone time. Ooh, nice Mystic shot there. On
I can
Turtle
tell you
at the
what's
end
on
for
this
a
scroll,
little bit of extra
but
damage
then I'd
from
have to
Arrow.
obliterate
As I
you.
said, he's been so accurate with his champion this year. Quite a good start for him. And with the push up there, FlyQuest gonna be able to get a very big prize, honestly. Mid lane is shoved in.
One can only
Keep
hold all
getting
this
the
power for so long.
Presence there with Taliyah. Bottom lane also warming up, and that is a very valuable early strike.
Yeah, we've had a lot of Cloud Break first in our games today, Kobe, so turn on pumping the action much faster with FlyQuest. Take their first break under 10 minutes. PoE was also recalling, so part of the reason they had all that space. Work by the mid laner.
They have forgotten the fire.
FlyQuest is now going back. It's pretty equal in that mid lane again. Keen is trying to get out, pressure those lanes, and stay safe.
This might burn.
Here we go. Maybe we'll see this. You can
You
just
know what I
reactivate
missed?
your ult. Yep. And
Ooh,
then
sun there, but still good from Acadian. Ulti there from Keen. Burns the heal, does keep himself safe. Really even flashing to try and get that kill.
yeah. So here's what I would say for this game. What you usually do, try and tell your laner not to move any differently at all until you actually open up. Because Keen had some pretty good reactions there. He immediately, as soon as Power Evil moved an inch up, he started to respect his back up. Here we go, Lemonation does find himself,
These rooms are not for eyes such as you.
Towards the blast gun for safety.
but
I don't
revisiting
have time
that
for this.
I would convey to the laner, don't move at all, because Kha'Zix can just go through that rush, then reactivate the ultimate, and walk up the auto. You get an auto before the enemy laner even has time to react, and usually they'll waste their flash at that point, rather than getting the heal. Because you also get the slow from your auto, and that allows your laner to catch up and stuff. So it's a very minor thing.
I've heard entire nations
now
go
Akaadian
silent.
still has ult to be able to use, having just used his leap instead. So for the trade-off.
Too hasty though, I think. Kane survives. Kind of losing the minimum there in that spot. Kiwi's pushing up though as Kane returns up. He's tempted.
Their minds couldn't handle what my eye was
also dodging what he can. Arrow even to play very well in this lane, just like, let's say, somewhat disadvantageous. You got nothing. Ezreal very strong. Mystic got face damage, still good here on this side. And back to the top lane. Zig is having a real tough time.
tragedy narrowly
It's a
averted.
very annoying Gnar.
Yep. Just trying to AoE the minion waves down. Used all his materializers. And you have a bit of a roam for getting vision in the red quadrant of Maka's jungle, being going for occasions to try and deal with. Adds to that safety. Wild turtle trying to push that double range combat.
None are worthy of my task.
Scuttle Crab as well, despite the gold lead being dead even between the two teams. Have to remember, Fly did get that first hit down. Akaadian up to it again. Shows back, it's good. The King forced the flash this time.
Yeah, they get the flash this time. This time as well. Bottom lane actually, another trade, and they've got the root.
Oh, by Lemon, looking to try and take down the time turtle. Like, uh-oh, I don't like this exhaust at all. Good slap, 8 flash for the Devour there by Lemon, but exhaust counted there onto Arrow. Total forced to flash away. Kha'Zix, he's coming and stun slow too.
Yeah, they see the pings on the Akaadian.
It's a very speedy Akaadian. Moving boots ready first blood, good to go. And just a spike. That's not enough for a kill.
Yeah, what do we say about getting polymorph?
Feels bad, man.
You get polymorphed under the turret. That is rough. So he didn't want to go for the tower dive there. It was very close, but now they can force him off the turret, take the more secure damage on turret. Ooh.
Quite nailing the story.
Ages to tell.
Good charge damage here after that pressure from the jungler. Optics bot lane finding a bit more traction. That help, but he doesn't have it yet, so might stick with on the red buff. That will be around long enough.
Back over onto the ward as well, and that's the value of putting all this. Now they will be able to attack Akaadian. After
Quickly, but
probably
carefully.
back, even though he's got Moby boost here with the early Moby boost. Trying to get around the map. We'll see if he's able to actually pull off any of those kills, because they have built the flash on the key now, so they do have that cooldown timer. And obviously your ultimate
every mile.
Here comes that top 10.
Flame. There's all the ruse, the ultimate still chasing. Just finally rooted to the very end. After the flash dark is not enough to protect him. First blood over to Arrow.
Meanwhile, since everybody went topside here, the top 10 ultimate, Wild Turtle trying to take down the turret. Pretty good move from Optic, I have to say, though, because their top turret has very limited time left. Their bottom turret was already getting whittled down. So they made a power play, you know, try and get the bonus first blood gold, even though they're not going to be able to get any more power gold. The FlyQuest was probably going to get it anyway. They get something out for themselves. They trade a little bit of that and switch up the lane matchup.
They trade turrets as well, so it's not like they get nothing after FlyQuest collect that extra gold. So a bit of bonus gold all around. As we'll watch this one again. Flame, he tried so hard anyway.
I mean, it was such a good kind of setup here from Zig. This was a good bait where it wasn't that obvious to Flame, even though the bottom lane could have told him that their bottom lane had recalled, right? And this is the Tom Kenny bottom lane instead. You have to worry about the ultimate and offensive plays. He's trying to move around the map at the mid-game, just like that. So maybe a little bit better communication from FlyQuest could have told Flame that the bottom lane outside and kind of an expected time. there. Optic capitalize. Gold still very much even with the extra internal dig currently in the pocket of FlyQuest and another one on the field.
Yeah, they actually tried to rush it down as the Rift Turtle went over to Optic and Spawn
I remember
didn't
when
quite
I
line up.
was
Turtle has returned. Now Turtle has the potential Drake take, but Optic then we're going to fight for this one. They'll smite down the Scuttle Crab and get themselves a the Rift Turtle especially, Fly going to have to make it.
Yeah, and they're looking like they want to fight it. With the amount of effort they're putting into clearing out that vision, they actually have a lot of setup behind the Dragon Pit. Both the teleports are ready.
Ready to go, but I don't have enough to move up. Stump looks like a juicy target for that Kazik. The arrow just poking around, has his gauntlet finished and a mana mune, so also quite strong. Turtle dealing with the waves there in bot side. Dragon started by Optic here. Turtle might walk the wrong way, but hits the spider. Blue vision here. Drake might get help. Keep me in.
Here we go. Turtle lands the root.
Ultimate elimination. War doesn't quite cut them off. It's done. Takes a big chunk of damage. Drake goes over to Optic. Can they get out safely? Nature's grabs there from Zigger's under. Force uses station and rush out of the way. Wild growth there by Sun to protect their strongler. Zigger's low. Flame will get the kill as he moves into the flame. And the rest of Fly a little too low. Lemon pops that grey house as Arcadian looks for the assassination. Oh, stop for one. Looking for Turtle for the next one, but he's now invisible trying to run out of the way. Pops the stopwatch after the lead, and that's the 3-1 for King.
Yeah, and they're still fighting down here. Keen versus Arrow trying to dodge some skill shots.
Arrow dancing away. Turtle, offensive blast code. The Neo Black. Turtle tries to make a big play, finds the station. Arrow cues him, and that's the 3-1 on the other side.
Oh man, people have gotten very good at timing their skill shots at the end of these stopwatches because they're so prevalent, and Arrow finds himself the kill there at the end. But again, let's take a look at this fight because this is a fairly interesting one. As you said, FlyQuest is setting up to contest, and it really is coming down to both junglers right next to the dragon, looking for combos. He EQs through it, then goes for the burst onto Arcadian, and Arcadian, even though he's under attack, focuses on the objective to get that combo smite, causing maybe also smiting it for the combo. Then, up here, PoE lands a stun onto the back line. FlyQuest have Flame at full health, so they're chasing the low health members, but Arcadian goes into the backside, gets his kill and assassination, uses his stopwatch, only to get shot down there by Keen right out of it, and then Turtle's about to do a similar thing. He blast cones over, thinking Keen is going to chase with him, but Keen is worried about the stun from PoE, which Turtle then uses his stopwatch in, but Keen doesn't move over to block the Mystic shot, which is expected to come out after that stopwatch. So a couple of maybe miscommunication between the two backline members of FlyQuest there. I think if they coordinated a little bit better, they might have changed the story from -1 kill to +1. But those small things in the scrimmage very hard to go over in the moment.
Yep, and instead we have still a very even game. Gold lead basically one between the two sides. 3 kills apiece and 1 turret each. Still have an Infernal Drake each. Well, this game's lining up well. Stalemate. Arcadian with the trump card instantly.
Here she comes, and pretty close to one shot. Yeah.
All right, well, turret down. Rift Turret will fall soon after, but
every rune I
will
find
take
is
this
another
turret
game.
advantage as a wall has got a few options.
Touchdown.
Trying to find something. PoE, a little trap there in the pit. Under, ready for a Dunkaroo. Finds well, Revel knocked back through King. Obliterates him as Turtle barely misses that chain of corruption.
That was like a reverse alley-oop. Honda puts down the basket, and then he flips it out of it with the Dalia seismic shove for the kill. Very nice. And a pigeonholing Power of Evil in, so there is no chance to dodge. And they're able to secure themselves with 1 kill to counter, but again, turret down. Here goes Arcadian.
Arcadian rushing onto King. King running out of the way. Under again, no dunk ready, but follow up with an EQ. Instead, protects him in. Abandon the mid lane siege though. And Power of Evil is just back up. The current lead will hold here for Optic.
If you insist.
Almost dead even in gold. 1-to-1 Infernal Drake. So we're heading into this and we do have possibilities for picks for both sides. You know, the top 10, trying to get someone on the side lane, but as well as Kanon to be a stop there. In that case, though,
both 80. Arrow's getting fairly close to his Blade of the Ruined King. And Wild Turtle as well.
He'll be there pretty quickly though. It's kind of funny to look at the gold and see it so even, but I just had a quick check and Arrow is pretty far ahead of Turtle in gold. Pretty much all things except where Flame still holds the lead in the 1v1 top side. So you have to think Arrow's quick circle should be faster to get those item break points, and Flame can likely still abuse the 1v1 advantage, especially given that he's going for Frozen Mallet second as well. So there's two pretty clear points for these teams to try and attack, but they've got a minute 20 to make up their mind because Infernal number 3 is spawning then.
What a game to
The
have.
runes decide my
Triple
path.
Infernals.
Got sick of those Cloud Drakes.
All right, moving in here. A little bit focusing from
Let's have it.
trying to get a lot of vision on their red FlyQuest, but so much of that vision should be spent around this little bit of right? Because that is going to be the next site. It's the biggest mutual objective coming up here. I mean, Baron is on the table, but it's so early that the Baron at this point would be very dangerous. So Optic might go for a big play and actually pick someone off around this Baron, but more likely the standing vision from FlyQuest will give them
Barely gets him with a chain of corruption. Elimination forced to flash out of the way. Wall riding here, continuing to try and cut them off. Behind him with good knock up there. Landing into the target, knocked by Flykin. With the seismic shove, Turtle cleanse the kill. Double TP's coming in. His flame in Megadar form as Marco lets the Nature's Grasp rip under. He's to be protected as Turtle backs up towards the Power of Evil. He's looking for another stun. It's only the one kill though.
Yeah, which one's gonna get the first pick? FlyQuest started out. Wild Turtle with the Baron's ultimate. He didn't use both summoners, and now the Infernal Drake coming up. Great timing for FlyQuest here. They can use Lemonade to get there, and the respawn time is early are very low. Optic still thinking about to test it.
Finally, 3-5 before lead, although Lemon is back up and running towards the objective. Looks like Optic do want to fight again.
Yeah, looks like Lemon uses his ultimate, joins the party. Drake still at 4,000.
Good stun. PoE finds one stun for towards himself. PoE though, Ruger the kill on the stun as Arda dives into the backline with the Cataclysm. Cadium is trying to find a reset. There's a double kill for the Syndra. Now finds it. Cadium can always make the play. Sneak a little too deep. Well, they're after the nerf. Not quite enough for Turtle. Needs to finish off these kills, but a stun from Syndra is going to secure yet another one as Optic. Pick up the delayed triple for the Syndra King. Forced to flash out as PoE wants that Quadra. Not gonna grab it, but that's a massacre.
Oh my goodness. And with that flash engage, sacrificing his life for the extra kills here. Optic now very soon will take up the prize of the Infernal Drake and go up an extra, not only but the kills, but also some bonus damage for later.
The next one is a stun. Found it. But you can into the game.
We've run out of Infernals. You can only have 3 of each type. And the game has exhausted itself. So now all the attention immediately will turn over to Dance Master Baron. Alright, let's take another look though. Lemon dies and gets right back here with the Tahm Kench ultimate. And he immediately is going to keep Power of Evil, devour him out of the engagement from Anda here, who is able to jump in, find the back line, pay for it with his life. And then you're like, okay, they got a pretty clean victory in that fight. But then they engage it and try and push it more here. In the end, they do trade the top laners and they get the extra couple of kills here as Wild Turtle also goes down.
That's how I try.
But man, what a scattered little fight they did in the jungle. Optic is very confident now. Even though they are down in gold slightly, technically I guess a few hundred. 200 doesn't mean everything. It's much more about the gold placement and the extra prize of the Infernal Drake.
Oh, still up. Not quite a turret as King just gets shut down. Nice stun from PoE, sets that up.
Everyone wants to attack. You're busy saving the world.
Winning, always a tough time. And it's kind of what you're supposed to get at this point to play and keep having great silent
setup. Optic going for the around Baron. They get a little bit of damage on the Flame.
Aggressive Arrow. Making now there for Flame. Gets some help for himself, but Arrow dishing out the deep with 3 items to lead it. Not just help as far as total defenses go. Not found to be a real tank. Great time in the 1v1 versus the Mount Optica the pace of this game. I know what's going in. Oh, he traps two, but that might not be it. Might onto the red buff for a bit of extra health on the low. As the ult's not enough for the help from Luru's heal. Sunrise won't find a power regal. Getting low, exhausted. Goes down to Kane. The Canadian picks up Anders, so a 1-for-1 trade mid-lane of the jungle.
All right, we've got blood spilled on both sides. In the end, though, map control is on Optic. They've got Tom Kench taking up the Baron. He gets from Ezreal, as well as the rotation here from the rest of the squad.
Control as well. Acadian was left alive, so Stunt is going to check, but he might check too late. Flame ready to go over the wall. He's not quite make it just yet. Are they going to make a hero's play? Try and get the Baron. They cannot steal it. Acadian with the spine, and Optic picks up the first real lead of this game.
Yeah, that was a big skirmish for themselves. Now they've got the Baron to break down the rest of these turrets. Take another look at how it happens. Kazi loves these closely packed rushes. Right up to end up, started out, and he keeps Lemonation in the red buff list right next to him. He's well aware that the re-engagement will be stifled there by the Devourer. Then, again, he moves back around, keeps it on the bottom of the screen, and finds the kill. And that allows
Well, gold lead still not good for Optic, up 1,000, but that will change quickly. They can knock down more turrets. Fly to actually have a 3-turret lead right now. Looks like they've taken down the outer ring. Up to this has been a close affair. Optic with a real chance to open up the rules decide.
Yeah, they definitely have control both ways. Baron's up. A little bit quicker. And the ability again. Abyssal Void. DPS over to the bottom side, and FlyQuest went for an engage. So a lot of options created.
There's the engage onto the global elimination. Force the blast out of the way. They're going to keep chasing him down. One third with a good chunk of damage with action. Back by Optic, but Lemonation stays alive. Tanky enough.
And they don't lose control of the waves either. Optic get right back to both mid and bottom minion waves, buffing them up once again and re-seizing on the turret.
Oh, it's helping out. There's a big rush out. Turtle again, 3 items, defending, but even
though it's such a small at this stage of the game. Incredible value, considering and this finally feels like the Optic game where they have control to actually figure it out. Here we go, they're on the flame.
Scattered on this defense. Sure, they have had some pretty good-looking comeback already into the season, but looking a little sloppy as Optic assault them from all sides.
Optic don't look like they want to let this one slip through their fingers.
This would be so much easier if I didn't give a
ward
damn.
coverage all over both quadrants of the jungle. Demolish most of now they can easily move back out to the dragon. I don't think FlyQuest should even risk, moving up. It's very risky to go face check right now. Stunt is getting a couple of scattered wards, but they're just going to be instantly cleared out here.
I can tell you what's on
should
this
be able to
scroll.
claim this objective with very little effort, and then kind of return to the slow, strangling game where they can like up the side of their own base and slowly starve out the economy and make the rotation.
Picks up Optic, Bruce Drakes to 1. And hit Elder Dragon to 2. So Optic decides to try and split the map with and push their advantage even further. Baron buff has worn off. A decent Baron power play didn't quite open up the
while to go here. Red Buff is about to spawn, so they could grab it. Never mind.
Power of God. Evil almost takes out the dual lane with one rotation of spells. Turtle and Stun. Taking damage from the death cap completed Syndra. That is an aggressive Syndra.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely burst damage all over the place here on Optic. And this is something that we haven't seen a tremendous amount of, you know, with the prevalence of sustained damage and tanking, you know, defensive compositions.
One can only hold all this power for so
Kha'Zix
long.
plus a Syndra definitely have one-shot potential. See it in action.
Especially Ghostblade, Dustblade, Kha'Zix. I do like kind of the speed that Optic are playing with. And again, kind of doing something themselves. They're playing a tank, not that common in the top lane. A signature pick from Power of Evil that is much more aggressive. Like Optic know that the best thing to pick up with early is to do what they know best. And as far as we know from what we've seen historically from players on their lineups, it's kind of a nice switch to me. Trying to pick up their first win here and move themselves further up in those standings. FlyQuest again, still more than within touching distance of this game, but gonna have to weather quite a lot with just how powerful Optic is at this current point.
Yeah, I think it will be again some sort of creative play with one of the terrain creating champions, and want to get they're gonna have to create their own advantage by singling out someone from Optic. Right back up. Not gonna let me
Cooldown can do it even more often. Turtle looking, but just poking in onto Zig. Knows that that's not a good target for potential pickoff.
So it does look like FlyQuest are gaining position on the minion wave, but Optic are gaining position on seconds away. And as long as they clear out the minions, even if FlyQuest are the ones standing in that mid lane, or were, Optic can pull right back to the Baron and force them to come into the Fog of War.
Again, Optic just sticking together. Oh, King trying to cut him off. But Acadian's found King already. Isolates him and takes him down. Arden drives straight in, but he's down to Arrow. Just took too much damage on the entry Turtle. Wild Growth up, going to try and pick up Power of Evil. Power of Evil just destroys him with the unleashed power. Lemonation on the chase has Zig there as well, forcing Stun to flash away.
That was clean. That's going to be a Baron for Optic. They took out 3 members, including the jungler, so quickly from that side swipe here on the mid lane. And you have to give props to Acadian. Playing a Kha'Zix in competitive and against the he did a good job of changing his ultimate activation right after he was active, so he can never wait. Riding on the primary start, completely demolished the fight. That means in the end, Turtle trying to flash and get auto on the power. Still
pretty much the full duration on his team. Real going to drag the blue buff over, gets that for himself now level 18 with a finished Rylai's to add to that build. I mean, the carries are not safe here for FlyQuest under this card. If they eat a stun, it's going to be all the Lulu cooldowns in the world to try and save Mizanda. Dives in, massive stun from PoE. Gets the others, and Mizanda just can't do anything. Too much damage on the Optic side.
Yeah, FlyQuest feel like they cannot get a punch off in this game as Optic continually steamroll ahead. Mid lane turret now going down.
He's rolling. Arrow poking onto Turtle, moving these minions up, pressuring this second inhibitor turret. Optic looking for a double play here as Lemonation steps forward towards Flame. Power Beaver looks for the stun. We're not going to be. Inhib 1 is down. Inhib turret 2 falls down at the same time. Now the second is going to fall back. Optic might go for this on the time. 15 seconds to look back. Oh, definitely. Optic takes the push. Takes the ground to Zig. Up there with the Weaver's wall. Not quite enough. Next to turret down. Flame forced to hop away. Optic can see it. They've had too many long games, too many losses, Kobe. Gonna try and end it all here, but Under's back.
Yeah, this has been some controlled victory from Optic. They sniped down Flame. He's got to go back to the fountain, and they're going to complete the outer ring. Another inhibitor about to fall.
Enough time to keep the push going. Baron still up for a while. They might just take the fight and take the game. Inhib down. Under forced away with the flag and drag. They have a minute 20. They will wait for these minions. No. Optic a little too scared of just throwing it all away.
They do have Baron for another minute. They should easily get an Elder Dragon here, but you're right, there was an option of staying there and just continuing out to clear out 2 more minion wins. Realize that time ends, but this was an all option off. Set yourself, they're tired of having any sort of game shenanigans where a game will slip through their fingers. So this one is going to be by the bus to remove all options. As now they'll return to the base with double lines of super minions heading in and the extra Elder Dragon buff on top of them. Remember, this is a double infernal.
That's how much in 30 seconds. And where Optic for this next Elder Dragon will be ready. They spent so much time in that last exchange. Power Regal and Arrow a full build. PoE collects another blue buff for himself.
In an instant,
this will
all
be
could
a
gone. Acadian wants a piece.
Exceedingly difficult. Okay, I was going to talk about the defense, but now 5v4 is Acadian just slaps down Kane in about 2 to 3 hits. Flame going to be the next victim as Acadian picks up the double. Going to chase the rest of them down. There's only one Nexus turret left. Good luck defending B5. And Turtle also got picked off by Power of Evil. Hit him with the gameplay there on the Unleashed Tower, and Ziggs just going to ult them back into their fountain. Optic, we're going to claim their first victory of the NALCS season in style. They picked and played their way, and boy did it work out, smashing FlyQuest in this game.
After that mid-game Sterling complete Optic control and on play. It's fallen a little bit out of favor. Kha'Zix and Syndra both finding a lot of kills in their picks. Optic able to put a win up on the board.
You can see the players very happy. Arrow had a big grin on his face as the game ended. Manager, of course, rushing up to the stage with the biggest of smiles and the enthusiasm we've come to know him for over in Europe. Optic on the board, finally. Has to be a big sigh of relief. You always worry about kind of the mental block of, if we have these close games, we never find a win, we never close out, but that was a good-looking game. Power of Evil going off on the Syndra. Acadian back to that carry style he was known for as a rookie. Pieces just came together really nicely there for Optic.
And in the end, most damage done is, of course, Arrow on the Ezreal once again. Huge poke damage coming out all along. He has definitely been a very strong performer and carry for this squad in the early stages of the season as well.
I mean, Arrow has certainly impressed, like you mentioned, coming off a pretty disappointing summer for him, but just looking a lot better, has been playing well every game so far, and back in on the Ezreal. Finally has kind of the rest of the team also deliver up with him, and Optic coming together. I mean, again, for all these new teams put together very quickly, playing in these early games, winning has to feel good, and it's nice to see Optic kind of be like, you know what, we're just going to do it our way. They kind of said they were going to play their style. That was Optic style, for sure.
Yeah, winning always feels good. Everybody with a smile on their face after that one. How's your preseason going?
Really awful, actually.
I knew after that I shouldn't have, but
I have a single victory. It was a 50-minute game.
Well, it'll get better.
I know, thank you.
Just keep playing.
I will. I'll try and get
Eventually, you'll win more than one game.
I think for FlyQuest, though, definitely had some avenues to attack there. I mean, Flame, huge advantage in the early teammate game on the Gnar, but it just felt like FlyQuest, a team that had shown a lot of cohesion early, just couldn't put it together.
Yeah. Definitely good news for Optic, and FlyQuest, I believe that brings them to an even score, though. So they still had a very good start to the season, and they'll go 2-2.
Well, for that, we're going to send it down to Queen Ovalie, long may she reign, and the Optic Jungler for more on that win.
Thank you, Peasant Pastry. I am here with Acadian. Congratulations on your first win of the season. You guys were off to a little bit of a rough start, but you pulled through, and a lot of your games actually look pretty close. How do you and your team view those losses?
I
I mean, it's definitely pretty frustrating to play through a bunch of games that go super long and eventually lose at the end. So I think we just talked about it. We talked about how our communication went, how we played the game out, and I don't know, we're just hoping next time we get into a long game, the same things don't happen. So yeah.
You guys have actually had some of the longest games of the season so far. How do you and your team deal with that mentally?
Deal with it mentally? What do you mean?
Like, if it's a super long game, do you guys get mentally exhausted? Does it drag on?
No, it doesn't really drag on that much. I think maybe in the TSM game, when the game it was dragging on to like 50, 60 minutes, you know, I was kind of getting PTSD from the 100 Thieves game, because it's so sad to lose after, you know, an hour of playing the game. You invest that much and you lose. So, I don't know. We just try to pump each other up, try to make jokes, you know, make it more lighthearted when all you're doing is clearing waves for like 30 minutes. So, yeah.
Now, before, a lot of people were looking at you as like the rookie jungler, and today you played against Onda. Did it feel like you were playing against a rookie?
I think in the current state of the game, a lot of jungling is based more on how your team plays rather than how an individual plays. So it's hard to see individual skill that much. So I think playing versus almost every jungler feels more or less the same, depending on. I mean, some junglers put a little bit more pressure. Some junglers seems like they're not really there, but they're just farming. You know, anything can be fine depending on how your team wants to play. So I think it just felt the same as the other ones that I've played against, probably.
And I want to ask you a little bit of a personal question. I've seen on Twitter you say that you're going to put a pause on some of your vlogs and maybe streaming. Has the stop of that had a positive effect on you?
I think, yeah, maybe last year I came onto the scene, got into the spotlight really quick, and I think I got too caught up in all the extra stuff for League. Like, there's all this social stuff, all these interviews, everyone like just talking to people, mainly just being social, like trying to get a brand or whatever. But what it really comes down to is how good you are at the game, and that's a realization that I had last year. So this year my goal was basically just to not focus as much on that stuff and just make sure I'm an expert at the game if I can. So yeah.
Well, thank you so much for this interview. Congratulations again on your win. And to wrap up this game, let's hear it from the analyst at the State Farm Analyst Desk.
Thank you very much, Avli. The Green Wall picking up their first victory of the spring split, moving to 1-3, so they'll be happy about that. But you kind of saw there, even in the interview with the Cadian, that this team does believe they could have won more, and maybe even inklings of frustration that they haven't.
Absolutely. Like, I remember Kobe talking before the game about how difficult it is to lose all of those long games and how it's mentally taxing. And even after they broke through and had a quick finish to what was a close long game, this not really a sense of elation. It's more of a sense of frustration that I was getting out of Acadian there.
Yeah, it's definitely kind of like you saw it coming for a long time. Like, we're going to win a game, but after all those long losses, it starts to feel more of a relief than, like, you know, a jubilation, like, yeah, we're winning.
Yeah.
So I can definitely understand that mentality. And even, like, from a coaching perspective, long, hard losses like that are difficult to chew through in, like, a VOD review perspective. And it's hard to get, like, oh, here are a couple key takeaways. It's like so much happened over that game. And most of the time people are tilted after losses like that, so you don't go
wait for it.
Yeah, there's like a proper timing that becomes important, whereas oftentimes it's like, hey, we won or we lost, let's go back and maybe look at what we can do better for Sunday.
Yeah, I do want to dive into the game a little bit itself here. We got the Kha'Zix for Acadian, still very much sticking to his roots as more of the aggressive assassin-style jungler. But what jumps out at me is the Maokai that was picked along with it. It kind of felt like it enabled.
Yeah, so I think this is interesting because this is very similar to what Optic did against TSM yesterday, where they're picking champions that aren't fitting the meta, but probably fit the current state of how the team is playing.
Okay.
So Zig being on Maokai makes a lot of sense because he had been picked into some winning matchups, which he ended up losing. So here they just picked him into a losing matchup and said lose gracefully, and that worked really well, because it enabled Acadian to play a comfort pick where he could dance around the outside of fights and then still maintain a front line. So that combination ended up paying off in a big way, mainly because of the way the players are playing.
That, as well as the Zac pick getting banned down in the second phase, I like that a lot. We've seen Onda only play Zac and J4 so far, but the Zac was noticeably improved compared to the Jarvan. So give him the Jarvan again, and then as well with that many mid bans coming in, Power of Evil still having a good game was very impressive.
Well, to your point, second Syndra game here for Power of Evil, the only guy bringing this out. Great performance out of him. Crazy amount of damage when you have double Infernal Drake and Gathering Storm along with Baron buff, blue buff. I mean, he was dealing pretty insane amounts of damage in there, but he's looking fairly decent on that Syndra in this game.
Yeah, and FlyQuest didn't have a great way of dealing with it. I mean, the two wins they've had has been Onda on the Zac, and Zach would have been great against Syndra, but here, when Jarvan did jump in, or when Nara did jump in, Lemonation was right there with the Tahm Kench, so it actually allowed Power of Evil a lot more freedom than you're used to seeing on a Syndra, and that's, I think, why he was landing so many stuns on people like Stunt, or Wild Turtle, or Keen, who are like backline members. You're wondering how a Syndra gets up that far, but it's because of the Tahm Kench.
With that information out there, I want to dive into our only replay here, coming 33-30 into the game. Optic picking up 3-for-0 in the mid lane. Watch Cadian and watch Power of Evil.
And these are the two kind of key players, I think, for this team, just in terms of kickstarting the early game. Arrow's great once the game has started. He had a little bit of a slow start again this game, but in the skirmishes, he started playing well. And it is on Cadian and Power of Evil to really find those first couple kills in this fight.
I mean, if you weren't eagle-eyed, you would have missed Cadian's assassination there at the very beginning of that clip, as well as Power of Evil essentially half-healthing Onda on his engage.
Yeah, you see the damage right there at the very end, with Arrow still putting out the majority of the team's damage with 34,500. But I think what's more important to point out is the low damage numbers on FlyQuest, because I think most of their damage dealers were zoned out by the Maokai, who is a higher income tank and tankier champion than we've used to been playing against. It was hard for FlyQuest to adjust to.
Gnar, as a team fighting tank champion, does have that downside of sometimes being not very tanky, and against a Syndra,
right, being mini Gnar.
Yeah, against burst assassins that Syndra kind of is, and Kha'Zix definitely is. It makes it so that your window of team fighting becomes very, very dangerous if you don't find it at the right time, because you can't go in frontline and Syndra can just aggress forward, and you don't want to walk into her.
All right, what is our thoughts on Optic's performance today, kind of in terms of the context of improving and moving forward? Because yes, they got a win. They did do it quicker than maybe some would have expected, but they don't look happy about it.
Yeah, at the top of the day, we talked about underrated. One proper selection I've made so far today, but it was because of how close they had played the previous games, and they were again in that situation where a couple good plays could win them the game, and finally they did it. So I'm happy about that at least.
You had pointed at FlyQuest as your perhaps underrated team, and here they are sustaining a loss to Jat's underrated team. Does this lessen your opinion of FlyQuest? Does it kind of...
Yeah, absolutely. I think a good point that Jet had was about how difficult Optic's schedule has been, and so if they can keep this up, then they start playing teams like CLG and Golden Guardians who have been struggling, they can grab more wins. And I think this was a good game from them, and I think FlyQuest has some things to look at with what happened around the mid lane and the jungle in particular.
All right, well, there you have it. When we return, the Golden Guardians face Counter Logic Gaming on Summoner's Rift. Meet us back here for Game 4 after the break.
A step ahead of Cataclysm.
We're going to win this one, guys. Trust me. Trust me. Trust me! We win this time.
Arrow dancing away, Total, offensive blast code, the Neo flash, Total tries to make a big play, finds the status, Arrow cues him, and that's the free one on the other side.
I'm gonna get a flank, guys. I'm gonna get a flank from this side. Lulu dead. Okay, Lulu.
Jarvan first, we need to focus on Jarvan. Kite back, Jarvan and kite back, Jarvan and kite back. Jarvan first, Varus in over, I can chase, I can chase.
Oh, King trying to cut him off, but Acadian's found King already, isolates him and takes him down. Under drives straight in, but he's down to Arrow, who's took too much damage on the entry. Total, Wild Growth, I'm gonna try and pick up Power of Evil, Power of Evil!
Wait. No, I will take it.
Oh, who's taking it?
Oh, let's go.
Holy shit.
It's your show. Hey, can you make him make a penta? Make a penta? I'm down for that. Give it to 3k more.
How do we make it
Oh,
happen?
hit this guy. Oh, man.
Okay.
that there's one thing I know for sure.
Hello and welcome back for our next game where the Golden Guardians have to face down Counter Logic Gaming. My name is Clayton Captain Flowers Reigns, and joining me for the first time since the TD Garden, Isaac Azael Cummings Bentley. It has been a long time, my friend.
It has been far too long, but we are reunited at last.
Reunited once again. Here we go. Let's get into the teams. First up, selecting the blue side, it's the Golden Guardians, with Lorlo in the top lane, Contracts in the jungle, High, mid, Deathly bot, Matt supporting, and Coach Locodoco.
And facing them on the red side, still looking for their first win of the season, it's Counter Logic Gaming. In the top lane, Darshan. In the jungle, Rainover. Mid lane, Huhi. Bot and support going to be Stixxay and Biofrost with Coach Six.
And at 0-3 each, neither team here today wants to be gifted a win. They want to make this convincing. And it needs to be convincing if you want to shake off such a sloppy start to the split. For CLG, their team points are in the lanes with the newest roster.
Yeah, they certainly are. I mean, one of the things I've been looking at also is Rainover and kind of some of his struggles in the mid game. It feels like even though he's having really great early planning, his mid game decision making, he's getting caught out, he's choosing fights he should not, he's not playing on the front side of the maps and things like this. And that's not something you can really afford to do at this level. And CLG for their bot lane, honestly, it's just been a struggle. Stixxay has not been performing up to expectations. Biofrost and him have not really been working that well together, and people are kind of left wondering, were they by their full team?
Well, we'll see if they can show some signs of improvement here against the Golden Guardians today, who have yet to show us what their own winning formula is.
And yesterday, Golden Guardians were up 8K against FlyQuest and were not able to close that one out. Definitely a disappointing loss for them. And when asked about team's identity, the answers you get don't seem super clear as far as this guy's going to be the carrier, this is the way that we're going to win. And I think if the team is not going to win through macro play and team-oriented play and good communication, then it has to be individuals stepping up, right? So it's got to be one or the other. You can't have neither and expect to get wins. You either need big stars making big plays, or you need to have perfect communication and coordination.
Right, and with the outcome of the previous game, with the fact that Optic was able to lock themselves in, they were one of the remaining 3 teams coming into today that had no wins. That leaves only these 2 teams remaining, so one of these 2 squads is going to leave Week 2 still without a win under their belts, and that's not how you want to start your season off.
Yeah, definitely not. I mean, they'd be the only 0-4 team. Certainly a disappointing start. And I mean, for either team, but really, when you're thinking about preseason expectations for CLG, that would be a shocker for many. You know, Jet had them at #1 in his power rankings. Kobe and myself had them in top 3. So certainly people had high expectations for this CLG roster, and it is pretty surprising to see that it's not going together whatsoever.
And I mean, this is also what we are like the oldest flags in North America. That of CLG, this organization has been around for so long. They've got veteran players here that have played together before. This is a team that people are expecting quite a lot out of. And let's see if they can pull it together today. They're going to have to start stepping up here soon. And the same you can say for the Guardians, who want to prove themselves as a team that's not just going to hang out towards the bottom half of the ladder, but climb up and be a threat towards the mid and upper areas. Let's see what they do in Champions Select. Jason said Wani banned out by Golden Guardians, Counter Logic Gaming, starting off with the Zoe ban.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how many bans are going to get towards the mid lane. You know, in the last game, Power Eagle played a Syndrome, we saw some plays actually targeted towards him and towards the mid lane in general. That kind of opened up some more unique picks because, as everyone knows, there really has been the big 4 in mid lane. It's been Zoe, Ryze, Malzahar, Azir. Those are the guys that are all above like 70% presence in pro play. Everyone else is far below that. So generally speaking, if they're not targeted to pick bandit, it's just going to be one of them.
We'll have to see if they want to place that kind of priority on those this game. It likely will be the case. Remember, you only see the Zoe bans so far. Rengar and Kalista, the bans for CLG, Golden Guardians, finishing out their bans with the Ornn, but I don't think that Wukong's actually going to get locked in. As much as you might like to see it, it seems to just be a troll hover. Going with that Ezreal instead, we just see Alliance.
Yeah, you hate to see that.
The
fans got baited. Lorlo not coming.
Don't do that to him, Lorlo.
Yeah, but Ezreal is the first pick, and it's kind of interesting because there's been such high priority on Ezreal, especially in comparison to some of the other regions where it has not been picked as early or as often, really. I've been surprised to see that Kog'Maw has not been as high priority. If you look at some of the other regions, you know, thinking of LPL, thinking of even some of the LCK and some of the other regions, it's been so incredibly strong, and in solo queue it's considered such a monstrous pick that you can build around, especially when it's harder to exploit Kog'Maw in the meta. This is our last day in the NALCS on 8.1, so it's kind of the last chance for a lot of these people to really abuse that, but it has just not seemed to be very popular.
Well, talking about popularity, your earlier prediction was correct. If left open, that mid lane pool is often very shallow these days. One of those champions that does show up over and over again, the Ryze, which is locked in now by Counterlogic Gaming, picking up their second solo lane as well with the Gangplank.
Yeah, definitely thinking we're probably going to see, you know, Malzahar and Azir come through here for high, but he's one of the guys that is not afraid of changing things up. You know, when you think back to the FlyQuest days, bringing out things like the Talon, playing in the past, you know, bringing out things like Kassadin when LeBlanc was considered so incredibly strong. They're trying to answer that. So I would not be someone to surprise me from bringing out a new counter pick or something that he thinks can answer the pick, but definitely more standard would be Malzahar here.
Well, we'll see Golden Guardians go ahead, lock in the Gnar to square off against that Gangplank. We kind of saw the analyst desk talking a little bit at the start of the day about how Gnar's so popular in a little bit of why that's so popular and powerful over there, and how well Lourlo is performing today. Also going to go with the Jarvan, locking that one in, but definitely they don't have a mid laner selected before the second game.
Yeah, they definitely don't, and the Big Four has the ability to actually be taken off the tables. And to speak a little bit about the Gnar versus GP, you know, looking at global averages, this is certainly a very heavily Gnar-favored matchup in the early stages. On average, Gnars are very far ahead at 15, something like over 20 CS ahead of it, because GP can be kind of pushed in early, can be harassed, and Gnar, you know, especially in combination with a powerful early jungler like a J4, can even threaten to dive and kind of really punish that GP. But that being said, if you cannot do that, if you're not able to keep that pressure on, GP will outscale you. GP will be able to start winning in that split push in the side lanes and having a more consistent impact in the team fight. So you have to be willing to play that matchup somewhat aggressively and really try to make the most of your time in the game.
The final ban for counter, well, the final pick, excuse me, for Counterlogic Gaming for the second part of the bans roll in is going to be Zac and the jungle himself. Both junglers picked up, means you won't see any jungle bans coming in during the second phase. But interestingly enough, CLG does not go to ban out the remaining two members of the Big Four in mid lane. Instead, banning out one of those comfort picks for high with the Orianna. Golden Guardian banning Asami.
Yeah, that makes some sense. I mean, Orianna would have a lot of ways in, you know, ball delivery systems with the J4, with the Gnar. Definitely some strong picks there. And honestly, they may feel that high is not comfortable on the Azir or something along those lines, or that they have a good answer for the Azir already with things like the Zac, with things like the GP, because Zac is certainly someone who can attack Azir in the Ryze here. Then the Zac can be coming over from Wraith Pits and things like this. GP ultimate can get dropped down, so Azir certainly can be attacked in that way, and CLG has maybe drafted themselves to a position where they're comfortable, even if it is slight.
Well, Stixxay with the classic Warwick cover, as the Malzahar is CLG's second ban. So, like you said, Azir gets the number of Big Four still remaining. Tahm Kench and Barret, the bans from Golden Guardian. CLG decide they're going to go for that Tristana. Tristana having big late game performances so far.
Yeah, and if the games are going long, Tristana is such a good option because the late game is so powerful for her. Especially if you have steal items or IE, you're incredibly strong, and you don't even have to really build much lifesteal anymore these days. You can look at things like Legend of Bloodline instead of Legend of Alacrity. You can also go for Blue Footed. You have the Relic healing, so it allows you to do these kind of very greedy, full offense style builds.
All right, let's see how Golden Guardians want to round out the roster here. This is the third time, audience. You can't keep getting baited like this. They're going to keep doing it to you over and over. Vladimir and Braum locked in for Golden Guardians. That's their 5-man roster. Let's see how CLG wants to finish this one up with the support pick.
Pretty interesting. Vladimir definitely has been more prevalent in the top lane. Obviously, still can be strong in the mid lane. And this is such a strong, like, team fight combo-oriented style that Golden Guardians has drafted. When you look at the amount of dive, the amount of CC that is here on this squad, it's definitely very powerful. That being said, you know, some of these teammates are less consistent, right? You're not always going to get the big Mega Gnar. You're not always going to be able to get into the backline and pull off these sort of Vladimir combos. So if CLG is able to absorb that engage with something like a Taric, live through that, I do think that the consistent DPS is somewhat lacking from the Golden Guardian squad. They need to have a very powerful start to the fights where they take people out or they're probably going to lose.
And at the start of this, what did we say? We wanted to see Golden Guardian win conditions. We wanted to see this team go into the game saying, hey, here's how we win, and execute on that from start to finish. So if you do have this big team fight potential, if you do have the ability to unload these conditional wombo combo pieces, then to me, Azael, the game is all about making sure those conditions are met every single time.
It certainly is, and for CLG, it's about avoiding or absorbing, right? And CLG is certainly going to have their options to do that. They have their own sort of, disengage and absorption with the Taric and the Taric Ultimate, and they can also split push in 1-3-1 with Ryze and GP, so they may not even try to give them those sort of fights.
Looking at CLG, we talked about it already. I want to go back to it again. A team that has high expectations from so many people, so many preseason predictions saying CLG is going to look good. The roster swaps around, the shifts, the changes during the offseason. They're saying, look, this looks like a really strong version of CLG. Hasn't quite shown up yet. And a lot of people are saying, okay, this is where CLG really needs to turn on right here, get themselves going in week number 2. And that has to be what the team's thinking as well running into this one.
Yeah, you got to start building confidence for both teams. You can end week 2 on a high, and something to kind of build upon it, something to kind of have under your belt and start working towards it. It is interesting to point out that Stixxay actually did have some so we haven't seen that really much on especially on AP. We have seen it showcase a couple of times on deals well with supports and these sorts of things. So, see how we can utilize this or just lane pressure if it's forward or teleport back to lane to try to constantly shove in Deathly and Mad and look to siege early turrets. And then you also have to remember some of the flexibility in the later stages of the game, right? You can fuck things like exhaust if you're really worried about these sort of full-on damage dives that are being put out by someone like Hai, and that can give you a little bit more flexibility.
I mean, we've seen a lot of Summoner Spellbook, not just
In
in
an
bottom
instant,
lane,
all
but
could be
solo
gone.
lane, we've seen it in junglers, we've seen it all over the place. And it's honestly that flexibility, the fact that if you don't have a key oh man, I really want that this game, having the discounted cooldowns on your Summoner spells, having the ability to swap back and forth between them, even though you're not adding some new capability to your champion, like you press the attack with your feet footwork, you're making it so those other capabilities are more accessible.
Yeah, certainly so, and it's a good point talking just about the Summoner spell cooldown, because even if you never swap your spells, having them on more often is pretty powerful.
It's pretty strong. But either way,
we're going to see Golden Guardian starting off. We are going to have Rainover go straight down and try to steal their opponent's
One can only hold all this
maybe
power
after he
for
does
so
Wraiths.
long.
Because if you just are accepting that he's going to clear your half the jungle,
I read the
also
rules.
for that.
I like this early from Golden Guardian, though. I like making these kinds of things. I like flexing those muscles, moving into enemy territory and saying, no, I'm going to go take this and start off offensive already, trying to make something.
And Rainover is not going to so very likely just going to see a 3-buff here for Contract. He has the ability to do so. With his soul lanes kind of
Blessing
being
or
pushed
curse.
over now. So pretty intelligent early move there from Golden Guardians. And if you go to CLG, they've actually kind of known for these early level 1s, the pre-plan stuff that works out quite well. I can see another team playing
And you mentioned at the very start of this whole thing how Rainover's mid-game decision-making has been impressive so far, as Matt and definitely try to make something happen. Find those 4-hit procs, but Rainover's mid-game has been where he's one behind already. That can't bode well.
It certainly can, and now going in fairly late, he's just going to drop a ward. Looks like perhaps take away the blast band. He actually did spot Contracts, and Contracts shouldn't know that he is there. They did spawn him on a ward now.
Or low. Flash away from that one. Good job by Rainover, recognizing that Jarvan wouldn't be able to counter gank that one immediately. Gets the flash for free, and now backs away, knowing that that Jarvan is still nearby. Free Summoner spell.
Yeah, very nicely done, honestly, from Rainover. The ward was pretty clever. Blue was allowed to have a little bit of a head start and actually get that flashed out. And we talked about this matchup on the Champion Select. The Nard does need to come forward base. The Nard does need to be one playing somewhat aggressive here. You don't want this to turn into an even farm lane. And when you're down a flash, you have to play so much more passively. So that alone is going to give Dark quite
For Contracts, though, it doesn't feel super bad, just because if you look at the buff timer on his blue, his first blue was about to run out just as he gets the second one, so he gets to have that extra mana generation throughout the jump and make it so and here's just way more of the farm, right? He took 2 games for the side of the map. He lost 2, so he has to see different farm already before Rainover is doing his wolves, and then there's no rock from the blue. There's nothing for him to do besides go and try to gank again. The Contract can hard on the route. He can go to Wraith, he can go to Golems, and if Rainover stays here, it's going to be met by Contract. He's not going to be able to kill this off. He's going to see the Contract. One thing I want to go ahead and mention real quick, just get it out there. There are 9 stopwatches in this game. Gnar, the only champion on the map that does not have a stopwatch. So as we talked about, they can play and finding opportunities. Remember that every single one of those plays and opportunities is going to be a little bit harder to execute than it might initially look. Stopwatches being so present.
Yeah, definitely so. At the same time, sometimes it can allow you to pull off things like first dive because you can use that aggro and immune turret drops and so forth. But the big X factor too that really shuts that down is oftentimes it's buying so much time for the defending jungler to arrive, and that can really slow disaster for aggressive plays. So we'll have to track that cooldown. It's kind of just like a third summoner, honestly. It feels like you have to track, you have to be aware of, just as you might not try to dive
Right, I mean, you think about a summoner spell, you think about what it does. It takes a situation. I'm watching that still. Reino now being found by Contract. CLG has now as well. Junglers might be in some danger here. Contract may go down first. First blood over Darshan. The Gangplank, not the guy you want with that money.
No, not at all. And Contracts didn't even try to flash out of there. I mean, you have to feel like you could have just immediately flashed back over the wall. And sure, you lose your summoner, that sucks, but that was not really what you want to see happen. And okay, great. He moves over. He's trying to put pressure onto Rainover, but at this point, you know the GP is going to be there sooner. You know Lorlo is not really going to be able to offer the help, and he's not flashing. He waits so long. The stretching strikes is there to actually lock him up, and they're even able to get that first blood on the GP. So pretty big mistake, honestly, from Contract.
Yeah, I should clarify, Golden Guardians doesn't want the Gangplank having that money.
Yeah,
the CLG is more than happy having Gangplank go to the bank. Darshan, 1 versus 1 against Lorlo now. Lorlo may be in some serious trouble here. Barrel going to go off. Darshan still looking to chase him down a little bit further. Trial by Fire is proc, but now Lorlo has the opportunity to return some damage up his own. So back, though, doesn't want to make a mistake. Wave. Plenty of minions here means this won't go any further. But these guys really are looking to get in those fights now.
Yeah, they certainly are, and it doesn't bode well that it's Darshan pushing back to Gnar at these early stages. And I personally am never a fan of seeing early tabbies and things like this on the Gnar. You know, in this sort of a matchup, I prefer if they're trying to get more quickly to a flat lever. That's fine. Be a bit more aggressive. This being the result of the fact that, hey, I lost my time. Have this need to dodge out on Zac ganks and that sort of thing, and that's okay, but it puts you in this position where GP is going to be on a Triforce, you're going to be on Tabby, exactly. You're so much bigger in that 1v1 that you're kind of already yes, you still can have a lot of team fight presence as an R, but you have to land the Megnar. That's not a checking in, just because we are scaling can be troublesome, you can see there is a 15 CS lead right now for Lorlo over Darshan. For the early game, despite the fact that Darshan was able to grab himself a kill, you still have the farm lead going your way of Lorlo. They've got that. Jungler, Contract has the lead, as you expect, based on what happened early on. Mid lane very close, bottom lane very close, about a wave and a half in advantage for Stixxay. And I specifically want to talk about that as well, because we've mentioned how CLG's bottom lane has not been this itself. Really good. You guys need to step up. Yeah, I certainly do. You're still going to get elixirs, you're going to get bonus AD and those sorts of things that how much can he actually convert from the TP cooldown on himself themselves? Because if he's not putting any pressure on turrets, if he's not able to really get something extra from that, it doesn't really seem like it panned out, right? It doesn't really feel like it worked out.
CLG managing to grab themselves 2 blue buffs, but now it's Lorlo and Contracts. We're going to maybe take Rainover down here. Rainover does get himself away, utilizing the Let's Bounce to escape. But I like that control over the buffs. They lost the first buff rotation control. The second time around, though, they're on top of it.
Yeah, they do take one away, but this is one of those plays that certainly could have gone wrong, and now that the jungler is gone, Darkson's going to have to get out of there.
Very nice flash to avoid the knockup from the EQ. Contract's going to keep on running it out. Darkson stays safe.
And Contracts actually tried to late flash to redirect to get the knockup on Darkson there, but he did it a little bit too late. Flag and Direct had completed. He doesn't actually get the knockup on Darkson and ends up taking the flash, but back to the Rainover. Rainover has had very good games, but he almost got caught out, and this was a near miss on his stage. Yes, he did get the blue buff, but it cost him his flash, and had he actually died there, that would have been pretty bad. Yeah. So it's one of those things where risk versus reward. It's kind of hard to see if it's really.
Bottom lane's definitely farming up down here. Deftly and Matt, the Golden Guardians bottom lane, trying to make sure that they can get themselves farmed up to a point where they're going to be relevant in the mid game because of the fact that this Ezreal needs to be relevant in the mid game, right? You want to get that Trinity Force, you want to get that, or the Iceborne Gauntlet, is going to be the option these days, excuse me, but you want to get that, you want to get the Muramana, you want to be able to have that poke so that you can be relevant in the mid game. Because like you mentioned earlier, Azale, this Tristana with the scale, with that big late game power, the Ezreal's not going to match it so much damage.
Yeah, or at least it's much more difficult to do so, right? Like, you can have a lot of damage on the scoreboards from poke, but in the all-in team fights, the auto-attack damage
the runes decide
generally much lower than spell-based caster. When tanks are in your face, it can be difficult to fight through, so we'll see how they do that. But so far, so good for the Ezreal in the bot lane, despite the fact that 6A has been teaming back. Actually looking for a catch on Matt.
Matt face checking that one. There's about half a face for it. Yeah, got there once. Stacking the bio. Point number 4. Man, there comes your Blaze of Fissure. Comes Radiant. Down. Attack high is here, but it's going Rainover. We're going to make this a 3-3. Vladimir ulti finds his way down. They're able to take high back from the wall, but that's Vladimir. It's still very hard to actually take down. Stixxay now to be brought down to FHP. High popping the stopwatch. Keeping himself all right. Continues to go forward with the Tides of Blood. Biofrost and Rainover both very low. Not likely wanting to continue this one too much further, but they will go after Matt once again. Stun comes through. Rainover going to be taken very low. High has the pool once more. Transfusion available with the empowered version. Biofrost still trying to keep himself safe. Stixxay going to be popping that hourglass himself. So many of these hourglasses. And ultimately, Azale, nobody dies.
The League of Stopwatches, baby, let's go. Hi, popping his stopwatch. Didn't actually have vision of the Tri-Brush, so I think he was worried about a re-engage from Zach or from the Terra coming out there, but
these runes are not for eyes such as yours.
A lot of kind of traded stopwatches, summoners traded back and forth, but no one does go down, and Contracts is up on the top side, taking away the red buff. Definitely is still pressuring this turret, so I would say Golden Guardians does end up kind of coming out ahead in that regard.
No one.
Stixxay at least healthy enough to stick around, not miss out on the wave, which is a big thing, right? You can't afford to miss out on having 2.5 waves of minions get absorbed by the turrets. You will be able to find that farm for yourself. Up about 10 CS still, hasn't really changed since the last time we checked in on it.
Every
top lane staying pretty close as well. Rainover constantly trying to take any little advantages he can. We see this a lot out of him, actually. Counter jungling, just trying to outpass the enemy jungler, grab some resources where he can. And we've seen Zax make some big plays so far, just in a week and a half of plays so far in North American LCS. Zach can make big moves, so if Rainover has the ability to get big with this champion. Biofrost now. No ultimate available again, but he does have a stopwatch.
Well, both the stopwatches are down now for the CLG.
Those are out of the way.
You can start pinging them on the scoreboard. Broken stopwatch. Where's my jungler at? But yeah, I mean, it's true. Zach definitely has the potential to make a lot of these big plays. They're trying to roam a lot of members down here. Golden Guardians on the bottom side, which is not annoying, but it has been spotted down. Deep well to drop the
It's a little bit wrong. They're not able to hold it. Over Golden Guardian is a nice bonus bit of gold here. Takes them up to about a 600 gold lead as we get closer and closer to that mid game.
And it's interesting to see how much more pressure the bot lane had here from Golden Guardians, despite the fact that 6day is keeping back to lane multiple times. You know, the CS is a little bit in CLG's favor, but getting that 2v2 turret is a big deal this early on. You can start to move that bot lane around, try to put on more pressure. And just even the injection of gold is also quite a big deal. So it's kind of one of those arguments, you know, is Spellbook worth it if it's just maybe holding you even a bit? Like, did they have to actually get something from it, or you could make yards well? They would have lost even harder if they didn't go back to lane, but it doesn't feel very worthwhile. Like that anyway.
Decent attempt at a steal there by Definitely with the two-shot barrage, but Reignover having Smite means you're pretty much guaranteed to secure the objective. So Drake #1 will go over to CLG. In an Mountain Drake, which means it's not going to be doing a whole lot for them right now, but later on into the game, if we get to that point where it's all about Barons and trying to sneak them away, then it can be a big thing to have under your belt. While the Golden Guardians still carry it.
Yeah, it certainly can. And grabbing something like Rift Herald, get a kill, drop Rift Herald, and sometimes knock down a couple of turrets. You know, especially the position of the Mountain Drake for a team. When Tristana gets up to those turrets, that can be very threatening. So it's something you always have to keep in mind, but it's not immediate. You see the Golden Guardians bot lane just at the top. They already knocked down the bot lane turret. It's going to be trying to put pressure onto this GP and his turret.
All right, let's see what Definitely and Max can do here. Trying to put that pressure down like you're talking about. Contact also there. Biofrost, ulti available, so they got to be careful about doing anything too crazy against these guys. Definitely just wants to lay down as much poke as he can here. This is what we were talking about with Ezreal as you approach the mid-game. Having those Sheen enchanted mystic shots land folks time and time again to force your elements off these characters.
Yeah, it's definitely really strong. Darshan has hit his Triforce Power Spike, so his wave clear is fairly strong here. He doesn't have his ultimate available though, and obviously he has to be kind of careful because while he can clear the waves quite well, there is still the threat of the dive, and we know the Rift Herald is around.
He's got really good timing on those barrels as well. You can see him always shooting right as it ticks down to one knockdown bar, so there's never the opportunity for the Golden Guardians to shoot those before they do.
Exactly, and it's kind of that mid-game of guessing when they're going to shoot. Because you should shoot, if they're shooting early, then sometimes it's late, and you have to kind of time it a bit back and forth. A lot of their guardians have been hanging around the top side for quite a while. He's going to go and drop this down in the mid lane. They're just trying to get some turret damage down here, but Fuhi has very strong wave clear, and that turret is healthy, so I don't think they're actually going to be able to finish it.
Yeah, Fuhi cleared everything out instantly there, and although Shelly rammed her head into the turret, I mean, that's about all you're going to get, half HP, and not the most successful use of the Rift Herald. They would have liked to at least get one turret for it, but